There's so many.
And we are live. I have checked the list this time. I've checked it twice. There are over 231 entries to go on this list of Sentai Armament Mecha.
And we're gonna find out which ones are naughty and nice.
Yeah. For those who are just coming in and haven't really seen Sentai series doing it, and why wouldn't you? They've been doing it for 24 years now. Basically, in the late 90s, early 2000s, someone decided, I don't know who, that it is a really cool thing for a character to have multiple forms to go into. So this went from Mega Man, this went from Kamen Rider, Super Sentai gained a few, and especially for Super Sentai, they got alternate armament mecha. And it continues to this day, and of course we have all the crazy combos going into even Boukenger. This actually showed up in the show like this. And even toy designers make it more commonplace. Case in point, the SMP Shokugan modeling project model kit line allows you to swap Gingaman and Gaoranger limbs because they use the same connection joint. Yes, this is Gingaio double knuckle because they have, again, same connection joint. This is actually really cool, and kind of goes into how Power Rangers tried to tie the Lost Galaxy Beast lore into the Wild Force version of the Power Animal stuff. So it's like little fun stuff. I hope they continue that with Hurricaneger. But yeah, there are too many of these. There are 231 entries just in this, and we still didn't get to everything that armament and limb swaps. We didn't include anything for super forms. That's going to be in the super form list. We didn't include anything that goes into the final combinations for variations, like when Samurai Hao used the Kyoryu origami. That's going to be in the final forms list. We once again missed the Rin beasts from Gekiranger, aka Jungle Fury, because those actually first appeared in a movie. So it counts for the movie debut mecha. That also counts for the Tricondor from Hurricaneger, for those who saw the auxiliary mecha list. That first showed up in a movie. So did Tenrai Senpujin. We have to talk about those when they debut in the movie. I've gone over this list. I've checked it twice. Unless it involves a mecha that showed up in the show and first and then had an exclusive combination in the movie, it's here. So yeah, the problem with this is tier list only works so much. So right now in the tier listing program, I only have images loaded through Go-onger, which is already like a decade of Sentai in and of itself. We're either going to have to save and reset for multiple images on this, or I'm going to have to go in and load more images because it literally won't hold more right now.
I just want to read off the chat. Black Century King. I'm guessing Des is replacing Santa this year. I had to watch that Christmas special.
What?
Yeah, like you said, you checked the list, you checked it twice, and then I said we're gonna find out which ones are naughty or nice.
Funny. I missed that because I was just obsessing over this, and the entire reason I checked over the list because I didn't write it out last time, and we've missed a few things on the auxiliary list like Saidain before we got started. So obviously, the first special armament. Technically, the special armaments started with Victory Mars gaining and Ginga Man with the Shine armor. We already counted that and stuff, but I had to mention it too. But I think them putting the Shine armor on Go-Go 5 was what kind of started getting them ruminating about doing this for armaments. But yeah, we're starting with Gao King Sword and Shield because it's technically the first official one for these form and armament change systems.
Like, this is gonna be an interesting tier list because, like, there's a lot of combinations that just look really good, and we can't just keep putting goat all. We can't all show them in goat tier, you know?
Yeah, there's probably a goat you can put in for every one that looks better than the rest, but it still only goes so far.
Yes,
and plus the tier lister program kind of I put them in specific coding order, and yet tier list does not like that. So I'll have to search around a few times to actually get at them. But yeah, Sword and we're already rambling, and this is going to be a long video. So Sword and Shield.
I'll put that up in peak.
Yeah, if the program will actually even let me grab it. I think it's already overloaded.
Oh no. We are achieving. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, not even sure if it's gonna let me. Okay, yeah. It's just it's struggling to handle all these images. So yeah. Give it a sword, give it a shield, pretty basic. Gao King Spear. First of what would eventually become the Gao Icarus attachment mecha.
But in terms of that specific color combination, I'm gonna actually put that in acceptable.
Yeah, I like it. I like the shoulder look of it. I like that upraised shoulder. It's a thing I like with Gundam design as well.
Yeah. One thing I will say Gaoranger did correctly is introducing the other power animals that would become like the limbs of the final mecha, like early on.
Yeah, it's like it did good with successive armaments, even though it kind of made it a bit annoying to collect them, because if you bought them individually over time and you didn't know, you had to keep buying them individually instead of in the bigger sets. Okay, Gao King Double Knuckle. Okay, this is top of peak for me. I love this aesthetic. I legitimately love the bears. Unfortunately, Gao King could only use this once because the strain of using the bears and firing their cannons literally almost killed the power animal. It was less explicit about that. In Wild Force, they still recreated that storyline.
And Media Hood, inacceptable. That's the orange one. That's a giraffe.
Yeah.
If you can see by this graph, I said.
Yeah. Moving on.
And by the way, I'm fairly certain there's a law that says we are allowed to have bare arms.
You have the right that is probably the joke somebody at Toei heard that led to this design. Honestly, you have the right to bear arms.
Yeah, everybody has a right to hang a pair of bare arms from their wall. How could that possibly be misinterpreted?
Gao King Striker. First of the leg changes. I don't think Sentai does not do leg changes for armaments very often. I think it's just this and Kyuranger that's coming to mind that really does that kind of swapping.
But it's some. I'd say it's.
Oh no, Gekiranger 2 technically, but it's not. That wasn't really done in the show much.
I would put it in hype if only because it's someone's a soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it generates its own hype crew. Like,
yeah.
It's
like, they didn't use Gao Muscle Striker much in Wild Force, but it was basically, like, dribbling the ball like a basketball instead of soccer, and then, Icarus went high-flying with it, but Icarus is final form, so we gotta get to that later. Gao King, another arm.
I feel like it, honestly, though, I would put that in acceptable, too, because I understand that it's advertising that it can limb swap with them, but
it's good for showing the team coming together.
Yeah, but for me, it's like, if the armaments are all going to be cool and unique in different ways, I'm looking at, like, how it does it bring a new, unique flavor to the main unit.
Yeah. This is at least one of the 3 or so times that Goseiger actually got in the normal Gao King or any of the combination cockpits. The other ones being the next one that comes up, and then when Gao Icarus did another foot and arm. But yeah, this is basically acceptable. I'm going to put it right below Gao King. Spear.
Yeah.
Gao King Spear and Wolf.
I mean...
Yeah, this is a thing that happened once. Yeah. I don't think it was used in Wild Force.
But it did happen.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Wolf and Shark works better than Spear and Wolf. Like this, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Still unacceptable. We're going to be a lot unacceptable for these early ones.
Yeah, because they were just starting out with, like, how do not only, like, the whole limb swapping thing, but, like, what makes an armament, like, something that you want to get.
Media reviews. Since we're discussing Gaoranger, how many of the Gao animals have you finished thus far? I think I'm still at around in the 50s. I haven't had the time to make any new ones, and I'm trying to get through my existing build backlog as it is. Like, you can see the priority ones on the shelf right there, And I just got in the Gun Barrel Strike Gundam Breaker version, because Gundam Breaker came in yesterday for us. We are going to be playing that tomorrow, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be listing that stream after we're done here. Okay. Gauking Crosshorn.
Can we put it in peak because we fear the deer?
No. Deer. A female deer.
It's endearing, okay? Listen, I honestly just said that only just to make a really bad pun, but like...
I'm not a big fan of Crosshorn, surprisingly.
I think my issue with it is for what it winds up doing versus what the horns look like. It feels awkward.
It is a special... I've played... I got a chance to play around the DX toy like years ago. It's far less mobile than what the SMP does. The SMP actually gives the horns a bit of mobility to give it a bit more posability. The original toy, not so much. It was really restrained and limited.
So, actually, instead of putting it in acceptable, maybe...
I think it's the first uninspired one.
Yeah. Because, David Hayden said it best. Bubbles!
Yeah. It's supposed to be a capture thing, but it really only comes together with Gao Icarus.
Yeah.
Okay, Gauking Spear and Shield.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That I'm willing to put in hype tier because, like... That logistically makes sense.
Yeah, it's a better mixing of combinations.
Yeah.
Because, like, Elephant was probably the most underused one.
Which is surprising considering it was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna put that up to hype.
But then again, I think the issue Gaoranger ran into was that there were probably so many power animals and yet not enough time to really dedicate.
Yeah. Oh, since we're going to be getting to Gao Muscle pretty soon, I should mention that Gao Muscle Cracker, that's the official name of it, is not here because it was never actually used in the show. Gao Muscle Cracker is basically when it uses all of Gao King's limbs at the same time. It's basically effectively the same combination as Gao Knight, but without Elephant to wield. It's in Apocrypha stuff. There is a suit image. There is a mock-up image of it on the wiki. It was never actually used in the show. So it's not going to be here. That technically counts as an extra canonical combination. Gao King Spear and Knuckle. This was one of the ones that happened with the Beast Tamer org when it took control of two of the mecha to just random combo everything because they could.
Spear and gun?
Spear and gun. Fist and spear.
I'm gonna say uninspired because it was done by an org and the orgs.
Yeah, there's not a lot of synergy in the armaments with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they did Spear and Crosshorn in Gao King at all. That's mainly how I leave mine posed because Icarus is used in Kentaurus. So, this is Gao Muscle Striker.
I really like how... I want to put this guy in peak because of how beefy he now is.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's how it was first released as in the SMP line, this specific set, with a solid version of Bison that doesn't move. But yeah, this feels peakish.
Yeah, if only because, like, I mean, Armadillo kicking power and stuff, the bear arms and stuff.
Yeah. Plus he's all muscly.
Yeah.
Middle, I want to say.
Middle, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It fits in there comfortably.
Yeah, the program is it's resisting me.
It's begging for death.
Yeah. Gao Muscle Striker Crosshorn. It's kind of the same problem as Spear and Knuckle.
Exactly.
So, about the same. I believe it's another that got in that Beast Tamer org event. Gao Muscle, Striker, Spear, and Knuckle.
I actually really like this one. Do you want to? And it's because of the color contrast between them all. Because orange and green can usually go together and stuff, but pairing it off with a blue, it's just it feels like there's a the asymmetry going on makes me feel like it's. I'm not sure. I'm not really good with my technical terms here, but something about it just speaks to me, you know.
Hang on. Oh, I already put the list. I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, that Jeez. This is how I can tell. So yeah, this is the one, and so Hypish here.
Hypish, yeah.
Yeah. We could basically go tier list by tier list from now on, just with individual series with how many combinations there end up being. Okay. Finally, onto Gaoranger with Gaoranger Evil Spear.
Gaoranger Evil Spear, I actually like Gaoranger already looks amazing and stuff, but the idea of the evil hunter with a spear in hand, and
yeah, and it's better than Gaoranger Spear and Wolf. So top if acceptable.
Yeah,
I mean, we gotta skew this a bit.
Yeah, we gotta start skewing something.
Yeah. Gaoranger Evil Double Knuckle.
Same deal.
I'm gonna put in bottom of hype for the moment. I just I like the bears. I think the bears aesthetically were the best arm power animals.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's the shoulders.
It's the shoulders. It is always the shoulders.
Yeah. Davis hated it. I remember seeing somewhere that there were plans for a mecha of Gaoranger that used Gator, Shark, the unused Gao Jaws, and Gao Bat to make Gao Devil.
Yeah, I have most of those remodeled and repainted. I'm just trying to figure out the mechanics for Gao Bat Evil, because there were technically two Gao Bat designs. One that becomes an arm and one that mounts over the torso to become a different, top armor. I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of how to actually assemble that correctly to kind of do the sound blaster function for all that. But yeah, that was a really cool looking combination. Okay. Moving on to Hurricaneger, with Hurricaneger primarily using Karakuri balls as the armaments, and we start that off with Senpujin Sword Slasher, which replicates the mech to slash 3 times.
Basically a standard finisher move. And I actually think it's I actually like that.
Yeah. Honestly, that was just the replication ability.
Yeah.
Put it pretty hype for a starting weapon.
Yeah, honestly, I think we're starting getting into no longer are the weapons just standard weapons. They're experimenting with, okay, it's not just a sword, it can split you up. You know what I mean?
So, bottom of hype, just because, it's standard weapon, I can't put it much higher than that. But then no one expected them to actually do, all the little mecha weapons for the rest of it, even with the balls initially, but then we started getting the other weapons. And this is Senpujin Goat Crusher, or Goat Hammer.
And despite that, uninspired?
It's a bit uninspired.
It's just a goat hammer. I mean,
it's just a goat hammer.
It doesn't really do much beyond that.
They didn't really use it much, but they had to fill out kind of the line.
Yeah.
Senpujin Tortoise Hammer.
Same deal.
Yeah, here's the other thing. I need to find them on the list because it's
right
messing
there.
up. Yeah. Messing up the order. Senpujin Goat Hammer, combining tortoise and goats into a kendama.
Kendama. Now when you combine those two concepts, I think you have something acceptable.
Yeah, because you can attack rapidly with how they were combined and just moving it around. Honestly, it's a bit silly, but you can see a toy like that becoming a weapon, because have you ever... I played with them, and it's pretty easy to smack yourself in the face with a ball.
Genus from Tales of Symphonia specifically used the kendama as a weapon, because not only is it a good concentration toy, but, you're just flinging a ball at somebody. It's like a child version of a mace, you know what I mean?
Senpujin Gatling Leo. It is literally a Gatling gun.
I shall call it Mini-Me. What are you thinking?
I like the concept, the execution.
Not so much. So
honestly, I'd put middle of uninspired.
Yeah, middle of uninspired. only because we've seen better lion guns later. Yeah.
Senpujin Squid Attacker. And mounted to the knee, spear knee.
Clearance.
Yeah.
Look, I mean,
I like that it mounted differently, but
it looks weird.
It does.
It does not look like it works the way you think it would.
Senpujin Gatling Attacker.
So,
how does that even work? Like, in the show, it kind of does a twister kind of effect, but
yeah.
I don't... If you're blocking the Gatling gun ports, like, how does it even fire at you?
I would also then put that in clearance because...
Yeah, because it's like, the spear knee at least makes some sense.
Yeah, spear knee makes some sense because it's, you know, tiger knee and stuff, you know?
Yeah, not help that Ninja Storm kind of skipped past these. Like, they kind of introduced them out of nowhere. Because I don't think they adapted the episodes that introduced them. Senpujin Karakuri Mantle. Basically, it casts invisibility over the mech.
I mean, still clearance. I mean, it's not...
Yeah.
It's...
They had an idea, they were going through with it.
Yeah.
I'd still collect these if they did the SMP series, but it's not that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Senpujin Karakuri Stamp. This is donate.
Yeah, donate. Apply directly to the forehead.
Pretty much. It's like, that one was the one I don't think that needed to exist out of the entirety of them. Senpujin Pitato Hitode. That line's never been translated. It's basically a starfish stabbing thing.
I didn't even know they had a starfish.
Again, another one that wasn't adapted into Ninja Storm, and for good reason.
Donate.
Yeah.
As you can see, folks, that just because, like, our armaments had to go through, like, a little rough period before they would become as epic as we would later know them as.
Yeah, it's like, this was still the experimental stage for a lot of them.
And honestly, it's good that they are going through this experimental stage to, you know, before things got weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah. On to Gaoranger with its plant axe, allowing it to attack multiple times as it's spun.
I'm gonna pinwheel you, and if you come over to my arms...
The thing is, we didn't even realize it was a plant when it was adapted in Ninja Storm.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a beetle, and it has a plant, so I give it points for originality. I'm willing to put it in acceptable.
Yeah, middle acceptable. Upper middle acceptable.
Upper middle.
There we go. Gaoranger with the Sword Slasher.
Does it gain that triple?
I think it did. I don't remember.
Then I'm willing to, like, we put that in hype, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think we can...
Lesser hype, because it doesn't aesthetically match.
Yeah.
Okay, Gaoranger Kabuto Spear. This is another one that wasn't adapted into Ninja Storm. Mm-hmm. The funny thing about it is, to actually wield it, the Kabuto Spear had to have a magnet that attached to the metal parts of Gaoranger. That was literally the only way that it could actually hold it, and I'm hoping that when Shogun does the SMP, that they just have a little pull-out handle for it that can fold in, because that's the only way they're actually going to be able to get that.
I'm going to leave that one to you.
I think it's lower than acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. On to ToQger, Spin Bee. It's a bomb.
I'm a bee.
It's a bomb that is on a release thing, and then it spins like a top. And yes, let it rip, Beyblade.
No. Are you saying that it's some sort of deadly bee-type weapon?
Yes.
Bees. My god. I'm put it in peak.
Yeah.
For the bees! It's like so stupid that it shouldn't work, and yet it does.
Justin Simone, you came in late. We already said we're going to do Gundam Breaker 4 tomorrow. Yeah. ToQger Catch Spider. You can barely even see it on the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically, I remember this being used once, and someone grabbed the bee out of ToQger's hands, and this was basically to grab the bee to finally attack with it.
in that case, I would put that in uninspired, if only because like of what its utility actually is.
Yeah, it might have been able like grab them from afar and get over here. I don't remember them using it like that.
Yeah.
Granted, my memory's not always the best about some things, but that's all I recall about it.
Media Hood, Bees, my Gao God.
Yeah. Tenku Senpujin, using Tenkujin as an armament itself.
I think that's pretty hype, you know, like just attaching your buddy into as your arm and turning into a giant tornado cannon.
Plus, it hypercharged everything, so tornadoes came from 4 sides to supercharge the cannons.
Yeah.
So, no, this is hype. This is upper end hype. And then Tenku Gaoranger, basically allowing it becoming a helicopter backpack for Gaoranger that gave it super cannons.
Peak, because, you know, over the shoulder cannons are all...
Yeah.
Like, it... yeah, I said peak.
Oh.
Yeah, because, like... I think if you ever screwed up, like, over the shoulder cannons, you done goofed.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're gonna get into some real fun ones.
Yeah. Abareno Nagurus was used once to introduce Abaranger's own take on the limb change combination system. Which is surprising, because Killer O used it more than Abaranger did.
Yeah, the main team did, so... maybe it's because, like, it's such a brutal, like, armament, though, right? Like, it's only designed to go to sleep, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just punch.
Yeah, just punch. No, head empty, only punch.
Yeah. Honestly, it's acceptable.
Yeah, it's still acceptable, but, I mean, I understand why the evil ranger would use it more than the heroes would.
Abareno Nokodan.
I'm putting that on hype.
It's replacing a drill with a saw.
It's a buzzsaw, using a Dimetrodon as a buzzsaw, and Dimetrodons are... This was, like, the first one they've ever done, and I... Like,
it's the only one they did.
No, there's also the one from Ryusoulger.
Oh, right.
And, like, so... I as a kid, I was like, I'm still a huge fan of dinosaurs.
Right, Dime Volcano.
Yeah, Dime Volcano.
I don't connect that because of how how the name was amalgamated.
Right, but so turning a dimension, it's also the way it was transformed. It transformed too by like folding in on itself to then create the buzzsaw effect. I think that's genius.
That is some engineering.
That is some engineering genius right there. And if they ever do an SMP line of Abaranger, like, I would love that.
Yeah. Even though Dimetrodons are not dinosaurs, I think.
Yeah, they're not dinosaurs. Technically, they're just, you know, ancient lizards and stuff, but...
which is usually what we think of dinosaurs, so I think that's why that gets looped in.
Yeah, it's also, like, an easy mistake to make,
yeah, so going up to hype?
Yeah, going up to hype. Yeah. Maybe not top of hype, but I think it deserves to be up there for, like, its creativity.
No. Abareno Slide-On.
This is a thing that happens.
This is a thing that happens, and it is motorized. You can act in the DX toy line. It actually rolls around.
By itself, it looks silly.
It's basically a surfboard.
Yeah, I know it is a surfboard, but it's like, well, that's random.
Yeah, it is kind of uninspired, especially since Slide-On gets mainly used for Killer O.
Exactly.
Yeah. Abareno Rakiru. I don't know why they named it that. It's basically the
Parasaurolophus.
Parasaur that's a pair of snipping cutters.
Parasagon did it better.
Yeah, Parasagon did it better. So this is the clearance one for these.
Yeah, definitely the clearance one. I never even really liked that one anyway.
Yeah.
Although that boy though, that's a
Abareno Valus, like twin drill. No, this is the peak one. That's
peak. Like, and not just is like not only is they put it like the spinning. I remember the toy apparently had. I never had a toy.
Yeah, because of where the connection joint was, the and because of the spinning mechanics for all the moving mechanisms of the Abaranger mech, the shield actually spun. It was on that same joint.
So yeah, you're like, these are the drills that will pierce the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just clashes together well too.
Meshes.
That's a word.
Aberno Valus Rakiru. And that brings it down.
Yeah, that does bring it down.
I'd say it's uninspired.
Uninspired.
Like the scissors are just that much.
Yeah, they're just. I think it's not only their shading, but just.
Yeah, the color contrast isn't good here either.
Yeah.
Just because the mech is primarily red with a bit of yellow, so the orange of Valus blends in better.
Right.
Alberino Nokodan Fire. Technically official, but it does not actually appear.
But is it a buzzsaw that's on fire?
It is a buzzsaw that is on fire.
So yeah, put it in peak. What do you do? Or a hype or whatever, because like it's a buzzsaw that's on fire. That's...
I gotta put it in clearance if for no other reason than it does not ever officially appear.
Okay. Stupid toy producers not willing to set a buzzsaw on fire.
Yeah, it was in a CD special for them that was basically mostly a recap, and it appeared as that image in there. This is literally the only image of
so
its
it's
use.
that canon but not canon.
Yeah, they made the actual suit and then they didn't use it. Like, I felt like this is something that should have been in the movies to counter the I will cause a blizzard.
Right, that would make sense, right?
Bakuryu. And yet they didn't. And it's like, that's the easy option. You can even do it as a pack-in with the villain mech of that.
Yeah.
Because they actually made the toy of the villain mech of that.
It would make sense because, like, when Dimetrodons were alive, the Earth was a little bit hotter and stuff. Yeah. So, like...
Aberno Valus Nokodan.
That slaps.
No, if we're ranking Buzzsaw in peak, and we have Twin Drill and Hype... I think the Twin Drill is better, but I think it joins it in peak.
Yeah. It's just like, that is a paint dino right there. That is a dinosaur mech that is designed to drill and shred you to bits.
Rip and tear your guts.
Yes.
Okay. Killer O Naguris Nokodan.
Now that looks silly. That looks funny.
Yeah, like I said, it stole the buzzsaw and the puncher. I think this is the most common alternate arm combination they used. So, it is silly.
It is silly, but... acceptable?
It is acceptable. And... Killer O Valus Rakiru.
Yeah, no, not even Killer O can save it.
No.
In fact, if anything, it looks worse.
Yeah, so underrated and uninspired.
Because Abaranger, Killer O already was pretty thin, so, like...
Yeah. Killer Abaranger is a movie debut. Mecha, unfortunately. So, I gotta leave it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will get back to that in the movie mechs. It was kind of a major movie mech debut thing, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's... Now, granted, like, the Terror Death thing, hype, so if that's your cup of tea, like, that's perfectly okay, you know?
It just didn't work for us.
Yeah.
So, this technically counts as armament, even though it's a lead into the super form, riding Dekaranger Robo.
Peak.
Yeah.
Robots riding robots is always going to be peak, and the little girl inside my brain is going to be like, yes.
Yeah. Again, it's an intermediary form before they go super, but it's technically them using the bike as equipment, so it has to be here. I think they use it a couple more times just like this before they transition.
I remember that, so I feel like because of that fact alone, it counts.
Yeah. Otherwise, the only other armament mech that Dekaranger technically has, I mean, they fire I'm forgetting the SWAT mecha's name.
Oh, the Delta
Deca SWAT Robo. They technically have the mecha fire it as a special combination, but it's not technically an armament when it's like that. It's just they hold the gun in that mode, so it's not technically counted that. And the other one is just the full blast action blast Bucky, and that's a movie armament, so we're not doing that. Magiranger has no armament mecha. They technically have core body changes, but those form different combinations. And we already counted Magi Phoenix combining with the horse from that one in the secondary mecha for that, and everything else. But so no combos for Magiranger.
Oh, Deca Wing
Robo. Yeah, I was forgetting the name off the top of my head.
Thanks, chat.
Thank you. So that just moves us on to Boukenger.
Great series.
Daiboken Drill.
I love after seeing the debut of Drill and I think it was a two-parter actually, or
yeah, first introducing that they were doing
right
alternate mecha,
which I really appreciate that. I did really appreciate it that they did that to start that whole mini arc, because I feel like that's a mean Drill right there, you know.
Yeah. So hype.
Yeah.
Because that Drill is powerful, and Boukenger, I think, used all their limb mixing gimmicks pretty damn well.
Oh, they really did.
Speaking of which, Daiboken Shovel.
I'm gonna put that in acceptable. Shovel was never my favorite,
even though it's in all the higher tier combinations.
Yeah. It's funny. It's one of those. Unlike the snipping scissor one from Abaranger,
I think Shovel works better when it's paired with something else that's not the standard armament.
Yes, I agree. It's the one where, it's in the wrong crowd now, but wait a little bit, it gets better.
Yeah. Daiboken Drill and Shovel. Case in point.
Exactly. Now we're cooking with fire.
Yeah, now this aesthetically works.
Yeah.
So, low end of hype again.
Low end of hype, but yeah.
Daiboken Mixer.
Yeah. Daiboken Mixer.
I like that both of the mecha that become legs/shoes can also become limbs. That was a good utilization of the engineering, just so they could end up doing that. Ryan Gold, Shinta, how much did you react to Tales of Graces coming to the Switch? Again, you should be watching me on social media, because I already did that over there, and I said, well, that's timing.
Unless, of course, you don't use social media, in which case, that's,
It's I answer these things on social media. That's kind of the thing. But yeah, Mixer is acceptable. Lower end of acceptable.
Lower end.
Yeah.
And then I think what's coming next is the Crane, right?
Crane actually came a bit later. Daiboken Drill and Mixer.
I actually like this one also because of the thing Boukenger did with its limb swaps is that they were never stupid about them. All the limb swapping combinations paired with each other. I'm gonna mix you into giant super cement to freeze you in place, then I drill your face in.
Yeah, and then they gave them a gun that was basically both of these mecha in small scale, and it's swapped around between whether you freeze them in place or drill through them.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. The fact that it was so powerful, they needed special torso armor to protect them on that. And the fact that Overdrive tied in cross-series continuity to establish how they would get the power-up for it was also really, really cool.
Yeah, so for those reasons and more, hype again?
Yeah. I'm not gonna put it above Drill and Shovel.
Yeah.
Simply because, it's a synergy thing.
DJ Toku, damn, I'm late. Dumb nap. Stupid sleeping habits.
Now, Daiboken Crane.
I like Crane.
Crane...
I mean, I think it's hype-worthy, but I like it.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
It's acceptable. I do like how the Crane, it's the hook part is what becomes the helmet for Super Boken.
Yeah, and it's just another type of fist, which the way it would extend out, then roll down and grab the enemy, and then try and winch them up, like, that's a bit of silly little physics there.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're just going to use the extend jack to like punch them from a distance, like Victory Robo was, I think that would have been a better utilization, or like a use it like a wrecking ball. Like there were other ways they could have utilized it. Daiboken, Drill, and Crane.
Also acceptable.
Also acceptable. Middle acceptable.
Yeah. I'm willing to contend with that.
Yeah.
Siren
Daiboken, Aider, and Police.
I remember this episode. It was literally, they literally did it just to really advertise that they could do it.
And they also did it with the Ultimate Daiboken as well.
Yeah. But I do like how it's the Gao muscle effect where now we have like...
It makes it beefier.
Yeah, it makes it beefier and stuff.
Yeah.
But not hype, though.
Yeah, I think it's like higher end of acceptable.
Higher end acceptable.
Yeah. And you can kind of see already we're 50 in on this list. So the Siren, Builder, Drill, and Shovel. This one actually looks pretty good.
It really does. It's a color contrast thing.
Yeah. It's like it matches well. It's again making it look a bit beefier than it is.
Yeah.
So lower end hype. Like, it's not often that Sentai 6th Ranger Mecha gets to really get in on the alternate armament systems. Like, the shows don't do them that much.
Yeah, they really don't, so it makes the times when they do it all the more special.
Yeah, like, case in point, currently in Boukenger, we have Bun Diesel. He has the same armament connection jacks for utilizing the Boon cars, and yet the only time they've done it is when they've done the all armaments formation instead of really in the middle of fights. And depending on how the actual suits work, I feel like they could do that, but they don't really want to. It's like, if you want to focus on storytelling, that's fine. You could, but just having all of those extra mecha is a part of how you tell the stories.
Yeah.
Siren Builder, Drill, and Mixer.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah, I was confused for a moment. Because it's technically the same thing Daiboken is doing, but I think it works better with Daiboken because of the chest armor.
Yeah, it's just that ornate chest engine armor.
Yeah. Siren Builder, Dozer, and Marine. Basically using the standard armaments, and it looks so slim.
Yeah, but not in a good way. The thing about Siren Builder was that it's supposed to be a beefy rescue Megazord, so... And the base Daiboken limbs don't really... I mean,
technically it's search and rescue, but
true.
Not really.
Yeah, like the base Boukenger, Daiboken arms don't really do anything. I mean...
So I'm kind of put it, like, down here.
Yeah, down there. But it's cool that it can do it.
Yeah. Siren Builder, Crane.
Acceptable.
Yeah, bottom of acceptable. Kind of paired with the other cranes.
Oh, Davis Hayden, also new Sentai tech mech toy line. It just got announced, and I'm kind of it.
Oh yeah, that the ones that use Bundy's underframe to allow cross thing combination. I have no interest in that. It's basically Bandai of Japan bringing back the Zord Builder, and Zord Builder didn't work in America. Why would it work in Japan?
Because like it's. The beauty of Super Sentai and by extension Power Rangers was the mechs were always unique to the shows themselves. So whatever unique properties they brought to the table, that's what made that show special and stuff. So to make a universe, try to apply a universal palette over everything.
Again, we want Super Sentai Mecha to do this kind of thing, but it has to be natural to the engineering. To just create an entirely new line using something that wasn't naturalist to it to begin with doesn't really get that same aesthetic and appeal going, so I don't think the line's going to do well. But that's our opinion.
Yeah.
Moving on, we're on to Gekiranger. And again, the Rin Beasts are not in this. They debuted in a movie. But mostly everything else that does armaments here is probably going to be here. I'm pretty sure I got everything. Gekiranger is weird like that, and the wiki page has made it kind of difficult to hunt through it for everything. HJ5s, did I miss it, or did they not do Crane and Mixture as the arms together? I don't think they did it in the show. I didn't see it listed on the wiki.
If they did, it would probably fall in a similar spot or whatever. Again, people, there are so many armament combinations that it's entirely possible something may have slipped through the cracks, even with his thorough fact checking and everything.
Yeah, and it's like just again for to preface things, we're not for when we get to Lupat, we didn't include the Siren Builder or the Siren Kaiser or Victory Kaiser because since the name comes before Lupin and Pat Kaiser and the combinations, that technically counts them as the Super Mecha. We're counting those as the Super Mecha. So those combinations will be in the Super Mecha list. Anyways, Geki Elephant Toja.
It's the best looking out of all of them.
It kind of is.
And even then, it's mid acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm about to get I have some words.
Because she watched Gekiranger more recently than I have.
I mean, I didn't finish it, but I do remember what I did. Or rather, I was rewatching it, but I did watch it before.
Yeah.
And, so allow me to throw some hands once we get to the next one.
Geki Elephant Fire.
Okay, I didn't realize this one was coming up next, but this one kind of does it. I'm not saying it's hype, but it's also acceptable. Because it feels like this particular Geki Fire looks like it was meant for elephant. Does it make?
Yeah, it's that increased level of beefiness.
Right. It's. Mm-hmm.
By the way, there is no combination that swaps Geki Fire and Geki Toja's legs. So that's not here.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that they could have done. It's something they didn't do. Geki Bat Toja. That naming convention is going to screw me up. I actually like this more than Geki Elephant.
Yeah, at least this is probably like...
But like, it's more appropriate for a flight form than the fan blade wings, where that really doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at all. Simply because the wings don't detach. So it's like, I'm going to cut you with these. I'm gonna cut you. Why can't I bring my arms down enough to cut you?
The problem with all Gekiranger's armaments is that they're trying to incorporate, like, weapon, like traditional weaponry, choreography into them, but
it conflicts with the spinning gimmick of the toy.
Right, because the base Geki Toja and Geki Fire, they must spin. There is no way around that. So because of that, everything is so insanely, extremely limited. Plus, for a fan blade thing, you would think you would want your blades to be like, to the side so you can actually cut something. You're not gonna slap the guy to death with it.
They don't really dock well. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I like the aesthetic of this the most. I still think it's uninspired.
Yes.
Geki Bat Fire. Basically no better.
No better. Oh, but
hang on. That's different. That's a different one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Geki Shark Toja.
I'm gonna cook this. I'm gonna flay this shark. This form sucks. It is so stupid. We've Gaoranger.
How do you swim with a helmet that big?
Gaoranger showed us so many amazing shark mecha. There have been plenty of great shark mecha in Japanese media and stuff, and I understand what this might be going for, but. Or rather, no, actually, I don't even know what this is going for. Is this supposed to be your sword form? Because just give Geki Toja normal shark swords.
Right, I
Well-
forgot a rule about donate. Donate and goat are like last judgment. I'm moving them just so we're not contradictory on that.
But yeah, I'm putting it in clearance because
Yeah, I'm putting it low to the bottom.
yeah.
And of course, we have Geki Shark Fire.
It's even worse now because now it just look. It's like
I actually have my old ancient mini plug Geki Fire combined like this,
no wait there.
alongside the elephant's armor.
There, good thing I look stupid in this.
Yeah, it's bad. And then Gekiranger Wolf.
Now, this is another thing Gekiranger I will give them flack for. They did not nearly take advantage of leg swapping as much as they should have.
This is basically the only time.
This is the only one, and all you get is a boomerang.
And this is basically just so Geki Wolf can is that the guy's
Geki
name?
Geki Wolf, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Basically so he can pilot Gekitoja himself.
But then again, it's just
I honestly like it more than Cheetah simply because it does it actually allows
something.
It utilizes the actual kick gimmick to give it something that can like razor kick.
Yeah. If Gekiranger had more stuff like that.
And plus since he was a boxer, that made more sense to not really have any other armaments.
And not just a regular boxer, I think it was specifically Muay Thai or
something. So this is more acceptable for us.
Yeah.
But there is one other Geki Wolf combo that doesn't involve the Rin Beasts. It is Geki Bat Toja Wolf. Yeah, this happened apparently.
I'm not sure how to feel about this. I feel confused.
I mean, if it's gonna fly in to like strike like that,
Jonathan Johnson,
Geki Violet.
That Doi.
Yeah, the mech was Geki Wolf. Again, there are hundreds of Sentai Rangers. We're not going to remember the names of every single one of them off the top of our heads, especially in series we haven't watched in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's aesthetically better because it's red, black, and darker colors, but it's still low. And yeah, this is just reading a note. Yeah, so again, Rin Beasts are movie debut mecha, and so we'll be doing the movie debut list after the super list and before the final list. Okay. Gaoranger is the last one I have loaded at the moment. So, starting off with Engine O Burka.
What did Burger do anyway?
He was a blade.
Oh, like a spinning blade or something?
Yeah, he spun around. He's voiced by Seiichiro Hoshi.
Seiichiro Hoshi Fish.
Yes.
This is the real Gundam seed. But I had the RPM Megazord toy as a kid, and I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah, Burka on its own was pretty uninspired.
Yeah.
I gotta put it lower than the Turtle Hammer. Engine O Gunford.
Okay, now
That's better.
that's a dog gun right there.
It's doggone, yeah. Yeah. Layered pun with that.
You just took your shot with that, didn't you?
Pretty much.
You've gone barking mad.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Engine O Jetris.
Blue Sharky 38. Oh, cool. I get to watch it live. Love your videos. Very informative and fun.
Thank you. Engine O Jetris.
I like it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
And I just need to find it on here solo.
And if you're new here, chat, my name's Alexis. I'm the demon that he summoned one day.
I offered to be her roommate. She has never left.
And I probably never will.
Engine O Jetriptor.
Now that slaps.
Yeah. Uses them both together.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hype. I do
It's
think
not
it's
hype.
acceptable.
It's top of acceptable now.
Yeah. And they actually did it with everybody else, too. And, Gunber O Jetris. On the right side instead of the left.
Burka brings it down, though.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Bottom of acceptable.
Yeah. The list is getting too big.
Oh, no. Guys, we're
Gunper O Toripter.
Riptor, I'm really not a fan of either and stuff.
Yeah, they're basically mecha that were there for the combinations.
Yeah. You could, like, and that's the thing we're trying to just find out in this list. What is in the armament that can not only, that can just stand on its own and not feel like it's just there because, you know?
Yeah. It's like, this list might get too big to actually display everything until we actually generate the final image.
Yeah.
So... Seikuo's special combinations. Seikuo Gunperd.
Yeah, now that looks, that I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, like, I also want to stress that if we put something acceptable, we're not saying that it's bad. We're just saying that it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So yeah, Gunpro is like again acceptable.
Middle of, yeah, semi-middle.
Where even is the middle?
Where.
And then Seikuo Burka.
Finally, Burka has a combination that actually still works, but top of uninspired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Man,
yeah.
That's like, man, we're already done with all those images. I'm glad that we're done, right?
We are just a third of the way through. Just under a third of the way through. Oh, by the way, Enjino G7 for people who ask, that's a movie mecha.
Okay,
that's from 10 years Grand Prix.
Blue Sharky, since they came in late, so the tier list program that we're using could only hold so many images at once.
Yeah, so I'm going to save this separately and then see if it will load more. Otherwise, we're going to have to judge just this first third and then get to the next set of images that will hopefully allow this thing to allow me to load.
Okay, but so if that is the case from this,
let me save this as a part 1 first.
Part 1.
If it will even let me save, because this software was not designed for this much.
No, it wasn't. We broke the tier listing site.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to reset this because it's just too much.
Yeah, it's too much. So
yeah, so let's do a go for a part 1 and a donate for part 1.
Okay, I think it's easier. Okay, sharp for donate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Listen, I've always thought that form was stupid because, like, even in this show they try to sell it. They really do, but
did they use it the most?
I think they probably used it the most, but that hat.
It's like they both. It's one where you have to do both,
right?
Whereas peak for part 1, no, it's the form's so good they could only use it once.
Yeah, that's how you know it was the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Otherwise, honestly, we balanced this pretty well. Clearance was equal to peak. Hype was balanced on inspired. Acceptable usually has to go. So we bell curved this correctly. It's just out of normally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just save this again with the final version, and then we'll reset the page, and I will load Shinkenger on to. I think we have to get to right before Kyuranger, just because there are so many in Kyuranger.
Yeah, so, Blue Sharky, oh, I pity you when you get to Goseiger.
Why? Goseiger doesn't have that many combinations.
Oh no, Kyuranger.
No, Kyuranger. Kyuranger has 40 official ones out of 20,000. I'm not kidding on that. Kyureno on its own has well over 10,000 combinations. It's like, I'm going to have to upload each image individually because of... I want to get them in the proper order, and I don't remember what the proper order is otherwise.
At some point, you just gotta throw up your hands and say, what am I willing to put up with today?
Not fucking this. You said that specifically so I would do the
yes,
Aaron
I
Hansen
did.
quote. Okay, so okay, so reload page, clear it out. Fuck, forgot it would remove all my tiers as well. So I gotta write those in.
This is a special ranking stream, everyone. I'll answer it. While you're doing that, I'll answer this. Milton Cobb, I have a Super Robot Wars question. Would you like to see Doraemon it being added in a future title? I think Doraemon works better as a guest cameo in one of the mobile games, personally, but
I'm not a Doraemon person.
Me neither. Like, I'm not totally familiar with that series. I know it's a very big deal in Japan, but
like it's probably one of the longest running things in Japan. Yeah, now bear with us as I have everything in an image file, but in a directory. That's how I know there are 231 images, but it's like it's gonna be a pain to pull these in small enough numbers that it doesn't entirely screw up the organizations.
Oh, you forgot. Did you get the one at the very top? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got those.
Okay, good.
You see, it's even when I'm trying to do it in just groups of 6, it's screwing up the order they go in at.
Davis Hayden.
Here's me making sure I'm not actually screwing up which is going in where.
Davis Hayden, I would do anything for love. Oh, I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Points to Kyuranger. Meatloaf reference. Good on you. Oh, I'm glad Blue Sharky says, "Oh boy, I love your Super Robot Wars." Or I love Super Robot Wars. Your reviews are amazing. I get excited whenever the next part comes out.
Neat. It's gonna be a few weeks until the next one. No, actually, I think that's the I'm forgetting which video I'm releasing this week.
Last week was Persona.
Okay, yeah. So this is a Super Robot Wars week.
It's Robot Wars week, everyone. I see ToQger in the future, and I got Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah. Okay. There's Zyuohger. We will go to the end of Zyuohger.
Yeah.
Because it's already going to be enough just there.
And we're not even done.
Yeah. Last few for that, and there we go.
Black Century King. Let's see. Oh no. Comrade Blackman, can you guys please describe what's considered a super form, mecha in Sentai? Oh, can I do this one? I love my super forms.
Shoot.
Okay, so a super form is a form that the main mech will take, usually within the middle part of the series, maybe a little bit before episode 25, but it's somewhere right in that sweet spot where one or two things will several things could happen. Either they get a brand new mech that's considered the super form, the 6 Ranger mech and the main mech will combine, and that becomes a 6 Ranger form, or an armament will appear, that will become
entirely changes the aesthetic.
Right.
It goes from the sense of Live Robo. Back in Live Man, Live Robo debuted, was the main mech for a while. Then Live Boxer debuted as a full secondary mecha. And then the producers thought, well, what if they combined? And then they made them combine. that was the first super mecha, and they went from there because it's a fully functional mecha that changes the entire aesthetic of the combination.
Yeah, and when we get to talking about super forms, that's gonna be a difficult one because there's...
Yeah, whereas with, like, what we're doing with armaments, the core of the mech stays the same, it just gains some additional equipment on top of that. So, like, base core mech's fine, but then if you have to disassemble and reassemble something to do something completely different, that's the super mode.
Blue Shark, like the combination of the first 2 mechs in ToQger? Yes. That is exactly it.
And then, since ToQger could still use additional limb mecha as combinations, those armament mecha, because they're being used by the super form, will end up being in the super form list. Or if, like, riding Kyoryuger is a super form, it's technically just a flight pack, but because of how it combines and gains a different helmet, it's technically counted as a different mech. If it was ever combined with Parasagon and Zakutor for riding Kyoryuger Western, that would be a armament form for that, but since it changes the entire naming scheme, that's why riding Kyoryuger is counted as a super mecha.
Alright, so with that, all those questions out of the way,
On to Shinkenger with Kabuto Shinkeno.
I never liked this thing.
Yeah, the armament types for Shinkeno were like, I like all the different ways they combine, even if, like, a bunch of them were just helmets and additional equipment, but the variety of ways Shinkenger's mech could combine were why it made it so good. But this is acceptable to me. It's like a helmet that becomes cannons.
Yeah, like, so I can't fault it and stuff.
Yeah. Kajiki Shinkeno.
Now, the thing about Kajiki that I feel, even though it still shares the stupid hat problem from Geking Shark, is that you now have, this is probably, like, a better implementation of what it should have been in the first place, you know, like the double-sided blade thing. For that, even though you can't really do that with the toys, because they don't give you a second blade. Right, but...
And its finishing mode is just basically the swordfish getting the sword in its head, and then it's, like, the drop.
Yeah.
Which is a bit silly. But this is still acceptable.
DJ Togu, Shinkenger just got hats. Behold,
Behold, the planet of silly hats. Yeah. Tora Shinkeno. I really feel... Well, they did this later with Halo Shinkeno, but I really feel like the drill should have gone on the hands.
But for now, it's
uninspired.
Yeah.
I feel like Tora was the one that suffered just to do the Tenku-O combination, and then you get Tenku Shinkeno. It's a super form, so it is not here. Ika Shinkeno. I honestly think this is the best of them.
It is. Because it goes back to that sword and shield thing, only this time it's a spear and shield.
Yeah.
But how the spear attaches...
And you get the aesthetic in the back of how the remaining squid legs come on. So it's more a hype. Even though it is really just using one of Daikaio's combinations on its own. And that's it. Ikatenku Buster, because it's a different combination for armament. It is the literal turning of Tenkuo into a cannon. I like this thing. I really do like this thing.
Yeah, in that case, you rank it.
No, this is hype for me. Hell, you could technically do this with Hao Shinkeno, or Samurai Hao as well, because most of the components go on the back. The only issue is you don't have the stand at that point because it's being used as the torso armor. Okay, so we're on to Goseiger with the header system. Siik, Gosei, great. Another aquatic form where it gets a silly hat.
Behold, I feel like there's a pattern forming.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's not as bad.
It's not as bad. At the very least, the one thing with the headers I do appreciate is that they literally didn't just... It wasn't as simple as covering the main mech's head with a silly hat. It was...
it folded away to create a connection port for them.
Right, and also, like, for example, for the Siik brothers here, the head got, like, a pirate, like a iPad, like a...
So they created a matching aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, I put this bottom of hype.
bottom of hype, yeah, because it was a buzzsaw and a hammer and stuff.
Yeah.
That is a specific
A buzzsaw with a saw shark? Some type of...
sawtooth shark.
Sawtooth shark, and then a hammerhead hammer.
Yeah.
So it's like, that worked.
Yeah, that worked.
Another Siik Gosei great.
Now that's just funny.
Yeah. I honestly think that they should have put the manta ray in on the torso instead of the saw shark. And it's like, the saw blades, it's like, okay, we get it, you're swimming forward to cut them, but it doesn't work correctly.
No, it doesn't.
But the fact they could still do this is, like, nice, but this is a bit uninspired.
Yeah.
Landic Gosei great.
Oh, Golden Garo's here. Hi, Golden Garo.
Hi. Yeah, this one worked a bit better for the oversized head. Okay, it's a Kabuto grappler. If you're going to, like, headbutt them to grapple them and then lift them, that works. You got the claw foot and you got the drill foot. I actually really like Landic Gosei great. I think this is the one they use the most.
Maybe? It's been a while since I've seen Goseiger.
Yeah, honestly, this is hype for me. Another Landic Gosei great. Now, this one actually works even better.
This is actually, like, goes back to that, whereas another Siik Brothers, Siik Gosei great failed. This one succeeds because this one I can see you, like, charging forward, grabbing a guy with your chest claws, and then stabbing him, and you know what I mean?
This is another one, though, where I feel like Kabuto should have been an arm, like it is in the Hyper Gosei great combination, simply to better do that grappling concept. But if you want to hug someone and don't want them to leave, this is how you do that. But with, I think, the Tyrannosaurus head would have been better on the torso because this face on my chest is only a decoration versus actually grappling to stab them with the drill.
Meaty Hood actually has all of the brother headers and a lot of swapping them around and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the headers were actually a fun gimmick.
Yeah, it's just I feel like they should have mixed and matched them more than they did. Which,
that's hindsight's 2020.
It's back to that Sentai doesn't utilize the armaments that they advertise as much as they really should anymore.
Yeah,
kind of
like they kind of forgot the art of that.
Yeah, it's like they dismiss them as, well, they're just toys, but it's like, no, you make the toys cool by utilizing them as part of the show. It's less advertising the toy and more, oh, hey, we've made this thing cool, now I want to buy a toy of them.
Yeah.
Sky Gosei great. Giving something that already has wings better flight powers.
Okay, I mean, it looks silly.
I think two of them become cannons, but that's about
but look, over the shoulder cannons, but all I can think of is this kind of looks like a Muppet to me.
You're going to meet your maker on the Muppet Show tonight. Yeah, we can go uninspired here.
Yeah. For, like, what it winds up, it's, like, not what I would have done, personally.
Ryusoulger being the worst example of what? Them not utilizing the combinations well? Ryusoulger utilized the combinations well. It's just, like, the Lego construction system just becomes too elaborate past a certain point.
Yeah.
Sky, Land, Sea Gosei great.
Now we're getting the best of everything together and stuff,
I think they used this once when everybody else was occupied.
But I think it's a topic acceptable.
Yeah. Again, because I feel like Kabuto should have been the opposite arm to, like, echo how the Hyper Gosei great combination worked. Exotic Gosei great. Basically, clone dragon heads.
Which is a thing that happened.
Once.
And because it only happened once, we put it in clearance.
Yeah. It's like, I like this, but I like more when all the core headers were on it in the hyper combination. Mystic Gosei great.
Where it just summons a giant
ostrich out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, this is the weird one where I don't think even the production staff know why this was made, because it's basically used once here and then once with Data's Hyper for an upgrade for him.
Yeah, and also, so that, it's also an ostrich. I mean, I like ostriches, but why are there so many ostriches here? The brochure specifically said there was only going to be a few of them.
But there's only one.
This is a terrible vacation. We get a refund. I want to go to Wally World.
Yeah, we already got it at clearance.
Aww.
Okay, Mystic Data's Hyper. It literally becomes helicopter blades. That's all the Goseiger Mystic does.
Inspector Gadget?
I mean, technically it gives it better fists, but that's about it.
It's also Data, so...
Yeah. I kind of want to put it on Inspired.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like... Okay, yeah, Megaforce lost points on that too, because they had every reason to use Datus, and they didn't.
Yeah, they really... Like, you're mean to tell me you didn't want to use... Like...
Because if you weren't going to use Datus, you basically had to exclude everything Datus did in the show, and they didn't.
And what they replaced him with sucked.
Yep. But we're a bit more hyped now, because... Gokai Machine time!
Oh, now we're gonna... it's like... we're Sophie's choicing this, because this is...
Magikokayo!
Okay, I'm not sure how you feel about Magikokayo. Not my favorite combination.
It's a dragon sticking out of its torso. I'm not the biggest fan of it either. I don't think it's the best of both worlds, considering Magi Dragon was actually really good on its own.
Yeah, and because of what Magi Dragon once was to where it is now.
Like, it's an understandable downgrade to be part of the combinations, but it definitely functions better aesthetically separate from Gokaiyo than as part of it.
Yeah.
So, uninspired, but it was definitely cool when it first debuted to show that was what they were doing with the mecha.
Yeah.
Deca Gokaiyo.
Peak.
Yeah, this one works much better.
That... I remember seeing that debut of it way back in the day before I had it, like... I was aware of Super Sentai at that point, but, like, I don't think I've truly got to see it or, like, anything new. And then I saw somebody post a clip of... It was from Collection DX, and they posted the TV Nihon sub of that thing's debut, and it had always stuck out of my mind. You know?
Yeah, and they paid special attention to that because Dekaranger was the first Sentai series they subbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, of Gokaiyo, I feel like the second Gatling gun should have gone in the legs instead of part of the arms. I know that's because of how the Pat Striker was designed, that it had to be like that, but I that's still how I feel about that.
But also, like, just the twirling out the guns, you know?
Gokai Full Burst.
Yeah.
Gao Gokaiyo. Echoing the Gao Kintaros combination as its base combination.
Only this time with a pirate on it.
Only this time was the pirate on it and dual wielding instead of the sword and shield.
And because of that, it's peak.
It is peak. They only used it a couple times though because Shinkenger Gokaiyo,
which is also peak.
Which is also peak. Technically, I consider everything short of Kansen Gokaiyo as an armament type for Gokaiyo. That's why this is here instead of technically some people count it as Gokaiyo's super form. But to me,
it more acts as like a fancy armament than it does, because
to me, Gokaiyo doesn't really have a explicit super form.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why it's here.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we rating this one?
I would also assume peak.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because, like, it fully combining the pirate swords into that Naginata dual-bladed staff thing and stuff.
Then you pull out Rekada Zanto after.
Yeah, to just, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like, I had the DX toys for a while before I changed over to the mini-plot. Just because the mini-plot, I can fit more around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we said we were doing it with, our
secondary mecha.
I'm forgetting his name.
Furaimaru?
I said we were doing him as an armament when we put him as an auxiliary mecha in his original form, because he is an armament for Gokaiyo by the rules of how Gokaiyo's armaments worked. And it also works for changing the aesthetic of Gokaiyo more again. This is why, you know, since Shinken Gokaiyo does the same thing as Hurricane Gokaiyo, I can't really count either as a super form, but it's like shurikens, giant shuriken, Hurricaneger aesthetic. It's not as good.
Uninspired.
Unfortunately. I feel it's better than Maji Gokaiyo.
Better than Maji Gokaiyo, but still uninspired.
Goju Gokaiyo. I mean, it's the drill hands.
Oh, the drill hands. Sorry, if my brain farted.
Yeah, it's swapping over Gojujin's arms. Which technically makes this an intermediary form to their final the true final form for it.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
Not all drill hands are created equal.
Yeah. Winged Gojujin. Unfortunately.
Okay, chat, listen. We may love Gokaiger, but we're not, blind that not everything Gokaiger did was correct.
I forget if they just CGI'd it or if they actually got the Mega Winger wing pack out of storage.
I think it's, the reason we putting it in clearance is because it's just the pack.
Just the pack.
They didn't do... Now, if they actually got... if Gojujin got a Mega Winger inspired head or something to make it a space drill dragon, that'd be one thing, but it's just you just slapped it on there because you could,
Yeah. And for some reason it's not showing up on the list. Go on Gokaiyo.
It's I feel like we've done this before.
Yeah. I feel like okay, I love Mock Falcon and idea, but the riding on its back thing that it did, I feel it was better handled with Gaolion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is acceptable. It's huge. It's a race car. It hovers, but it doesn't do as much as Gaolion did.
Yeah.
And for on to Go-Busters, Go-Buster Ace Stag Custom.
Acceptable.
It's a guns and grappler arm.
Yeah,
so
can't really blame it for that.
Yeah,
but something I will fight for. The next one,
Go-Buster Ace and Lyo.
Peak. Listen, I will bash on Go-Busters until the cows come home. But a giant cheetah robot riding on a giant lion motorcycle with guns on the front of it, that is always gonna slap, and I will defend that with my life.
Buster Beat could also ride on the back of it. I don't think they ever, in the toy line at least, I don't think they ever did that in the show. I could find no images of them doing that on the show. Yeah, Blue Shark 38, fun fact, empowering the Power Rangers toy line, Mock Falcon has a Megazord mode, which was terrible.
Yeah, it was. I mean...
it was actually, and that robot mode was engineered so poorly it actually made trying to do the Super Mega Force Ultra Zord combination actually weaker.
God, that name sucks.
I don't think if that's the real name. I don't. No, they did Legendary Ultra Zord. That was it. But that was still terrible because you don't use Legendary as an adjective like that. Moving on to Kyoryuger with Kyoryuger Stegochi Zakutor, which I feel like Stegochi should have been the left arm for this, so you have the multi-bladed weapon on the right for that instead of the reverse wielding.
Yeah.
Or you should have either had Stegochi in its sword mode, so you have the actual dual wielding weapons aesthetic to it. But no, they kept it as the shield.
Hype.
Yeah, it's pretty hype.
It's gonna be lower. It's gonna be bottom hype.
Because, it's good, but it could have been better. That's what I was saying.
Next.
Kyoryuger Western.
No, you didn't say it right. Kyoryuger Western! No!
This is Peak.
Peak. It's a gun. It's gun slashing.
Gun sword.
Gun.
Start playing Niji no Kanata. Kyoryuger Macho.
Macho!
Again, I feel like Drysera should have been the right hand for a lot of that. I know Stegochi transforms into the sword, so it has to be the left arm. But
I think that was probably the biggest weakness of the Kyoryuger line, that limbs could freely swap from one side to the other.
It's I mean, they could. They do that with a few others, but the fist would always be wrong for that.
Right. So if they ever did a new mini plus of Stegochi and all that stuff, they would have to have a feature where the that could rotate.
I mean, they just need to do Spino Dio like they're doing the full action Spino Dio plus Western sets for the actual Kyoryuger DX line. I think they might actually end up doing that after the DX toy releases for that. But yeah, this is acceptable.
Yeah. Golden Garo, Macho is just Unga Bunga incarnate.
Kyoryuger and Parasagon Stagochi. See, they actually do put it as the arm shield a couple times.
Now it has like a riot shield aesthetic thing going on. You know?
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, yeah, it's about the same as Western. Yeah. Kyoryuger Kung Fu.
Whatcha?
Yeah, it's like the mace. The mace really helps this over Mancho.
Yeah.
So, bottom of hype.
Bottom of hype.
Kyoryuger Baseball.
No, Diaz, that Seinfeld meme of George with a baseball bat. Like, what's the deal with all those dinosaurs?
Is Mega Voyager with Mega Winger's wings considered an auxiliary formation? No, that's a final. That's still a final. But yeah, baseball is acceptable. It's just funny.
It's too funny to put it any lower.
It's too funny to put it any lower.
It's the fact that it's just a baseball bat. That's all it is. It's just...
Kyoryuger Christmas.
Do you feel the power of Santa Christ flow through you? Wait, Santa Claus was a dinosaur? That's right, Timmy. Santa Claus was a dinosaur.
Yeah, this is uninspired. It's just a hat. It's just a hat. So,
you're getting cold.
And yet it's an official armament because you have to equip it.
Yeah.
Tetsuridino Western.
Eek.
Yeah.
Gold, black, and the green just works.
I like it better than Kyoryuger Western simply because of the shoulder armor being aesthetically symmetrical.
Tetsuridino is like probably one of, not my personal favorite Six Ranger mecha, but it's definitely
up there.
It's up there.
Tetsuridino Enkidon. Also the fact that it could still have its own arms while equipping the other limbs.
Right, like that's the thing I love about it and stuff.
Yeah. This is hype.
Yeah.
This is low-end hype.
Low-end hype.
Tetsuridino Bunpaki.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Just from the other angle.
Yeah. Tetsuridino Parasagon. It got a few solo wields.
Yeah,
like I think it's one of the highest for any of the Sixth Ranger mechas.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive, but top of acceptable?
Yeah.
Top of acceptable.
Tetsuridino Drysera. No, this is higher in hype for me because it's actually using the drill correctly. Because it equipped it launched as a drill. This is the only time they actually use the drill in the entire goddamn series.
Which is weird. You would think otherwise, but no.
Tetsuridino Christmas. Yes, they did it for the others as well. It is still just as silly. Plezuo Bunpaki. You're a Gabatira short of a super form.
Yeah. I don't think it works quite as well. I love Plezuo, but don't get me wrong, but it's just...
Yeah, this is the weak one.
No. I think it suffers from the fate of... Now, the Parasagon...
Finish your thought.
Okay, so with this one, the Plezuo already has a badass shotgun arm. I don't think a mace really complements that, you know?
Yeah.
But
Parasagon, though,
with another gun,
dual guns. No, this is key.
Yeah.
It's like if you were going to do twin cannons, this is the one. Plezuo Zakutor. It's like Western. It's the contrast that helps that work.
And purple and green may not work together all the time. It's colors, but there are times where they can match. You know?
So it's like the Western combos in general are just
they just work.
Yeah. Plezuo Enkidon. This was done once.
Yeah. And same deal with the mace.
It's uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasuo Christmas.
Space Christmas.
Space Christmas.
Can we put
also
it
known as Frieza Day.
Can we put it in acceptable because it's Space Christmas?
No, it's still gotta be uninspired.
Aww, no more Space Christmas.
It's just a Santa hat.
But he's got a new hat.
Speaking of which, Gigant Brachio Christmas. Yes, I put all of them on there. They are all silly.
And your uninspired Christmas.
Your numbers don't make sense. I still like that joke from the Kyoryuger Christmas episodes. Okay, moving on to Tokyo with ToQger with Tokyo Shield.
It's the only time Tokyo is tolerable.
Yeah, it's acceptable. It's bottom acceptable, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's a warning sign canon. I can't hate that. Tokyo Car Carrier.
Clearance. You're not convincing me that looks good.
No.
You're not
I know why that is long like that. It's for Diesel's combinations. It still doesn't look right. Diesel's legs are still too long. Tokyo Tank. Like, punching gloves, like, I don't hate that.
Yeah, uninspired, but putting it at the bottom.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna put it above the Christmas ones, though. Just be a bit more fair. Tokyo Car Carrier Tank. No, this is clearance. Like, you don't even make the other arm long either. You just make it short, so it's like, how is it even supposed to hit like that?
Right, like, it just looks so awkward.
I feel bad for the suit actor having to try and wield those, and you just can't.
Kamen Rider Black Man, what an erect arm.
No, none of that. Tokyo Police. Okay, this is another one where I kind of more like it.
Yeah. No, I am willing to, like, put my head aside and say that it's acceptable.
Yeah, plus they're doing with the police handcuff what they refused to do with in Goseiger with the Kabuto header and making it an actual arm for grappling.
Mm-hmm. So imagine being arrested with the ToQger as well.
Tokyo Drill. You're trying.
It's not quite working, but you get a gold star for effort.
You're on top of uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Build.
It's
a shovel arm.
But it's not even like
bottom inspired. Like, it works with Build.io, it doesn't quite work here. Diesel O Fire.
That works.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, it's a gun on an extension and then a fire extinguisher, so you double up on the fire extinguishing. It's okay. It's acceptable. Again, we don't like ToQger's mecha. We're not going to be unfair to it.
Yeah.
Diesel-O Police Fire.
That works. I would actually put that in acceptable, too.
Yeah. I don't think it works as well as if they'd done the fire truck arm, but here's the thing about that. It can't actually combine that way on Diesel-O. Its left arm doesn't let it. There's only just a peg. It doesn't allow for swapping out like that. So it can only just wield the fire extinguisher hand. I know this because I got the mini plot of the ToQger line. Yeah, and even here, they could only for a Diesel-O Police, they couldn't actually give it the handcuffed arm because that left arm is not an actual combination port. So I gotta put that in uninspired just because they did not plan out the combination system that way.
Really exposing the flaws in it.
Yeah. Build.io Drill. Like, this is the one which they were supposed to do like that, so I like this.
Yeah.
It's still acceptable.
Again, Build.io I don't like, but I don't hate either.
It's aesthetically appropriate, so we're not gonna bash it.
You at least are aesthetically appropriate.
Build.io Tank.
I think it works better than the...
Because it's beefier, it has the shoulder pads.
It looks like
the shoulder armor that better does that instead of the large Evangelion.
Oh my
pylons.
gosh, I really hate how Tokyo has huge pylons and did nothing with them.
Yeah.
like, okay, if you're going for Evangelion pylons, here's the thing about those pylons.
Don't make them neon colors.
Yeah, or rather, in Evangelion, those shoulder pads that they all had stored their knives. At least there was a reason for it. You know what I mean?
That and they were part of the physical restraint system.
Yeah, exactly. There was narrative and practical reasons for that design to be there, but ToQger just has those pylons that do nothing. No extra missile pods. That would have been something. Yeah,
it's like we don't like ToQger. We don't like these mech, but we're trying to be fair and not quite objective. But we're not going to bash on it. We did that enough on the previous list that we're not going to blame it more because at least the armaments improve the aesthetics that we didn't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Build Dio Shield.
Also acceptable.
Yeah, also acceptable. Honestly, I think it's better with ToQger, but
it really is because the whole rainbow aesthetic, but it still works.
Yeah, it's just the color match doesn't work as well. Build Dio Fire and Shield. I like this more.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and I feel like this is another one they should have done with ToQger, and they didn't. Build Dio Fire and Shield. AKA kind of what Diesel should have done, but didn't because it can't combine that way.
Kind of reminds me of what Boukenger would wind up doing with its arm.
Yeah. It kind of has that defensive shield, but it's like it conforms to the arm instead of being something you have to stick out in front.
Right.
So because of that, it honestly gets a few more points. I'll put it right up. Yeah. No, I can't put it above Fire because it makes sense to have a gun and a shield, but it's like right with it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on to Ninninger.
Oh god.
Shurikenjin Pow on.
Is that supposed to be hammers or axes?
Those are supposed to be axes. It's because it's from the elephant, and I don't know why you do axes with the elephant.
Okay, we're gonna have to be nice and ninja, aren't we, for a little bit? Okay, stealing my nerves. It's acceptable.
I think this is the most acceptable one.
Most acceptable.
But it's just the entire combination scheme, I still think it's uninspired. It's like, I can't rate Shinkenger highly even if we're trying to be fair. Shurikenjin UFO.
What is even the deal with this?
It's like, why did you do the UFO? I don't understand Naomi Takebe's insistence on making it represent everything from Super Sentai's past when it aired in the year of an anniversary, but it wasn't an anniversary season, and just the jank of nothing in Ninja congealing as to any theme they wanted for the show is what kept driving it down. And this is a clearance one.
Yeah.
Shurikenjin Surfs Up Dude.
That's it.
This is a thing they did. Why did you do this? Is certainly
Can we go back to
the
the Stegosaurus? That was funnier.
The Stegosaurus was funnier, and it actually was motorized in some form. The DX toy, this was not.
Yeah, so what are you gonna... How would you display this? Like, I mean, what... It's not even a surfboard, like... If it was a sword, like a really big Buster sword that could double as a surfboard, that'd be one
That would have been funny, but...
Like a Zambato or something like that.
Yeah, but it's just the general problem of Ninninger and, like, no coherence or consistency, because looking back at that, like, this is only the, second time we have had a... we had that with Mock Falcon, too, and technically Big Ally, but... We don't have a lot of stand on another mech to ride it things, and riding Time Ranger to Rebel as well. But this is like, this does not work.
Yeah. Now, HJ5 says it looks better than the Abaranger surfboard, and yes, it in the sense that it does look like a surfboard, but at least with Abarangers, the Stegosaurus served functions. Like,
it did other things.
It did other things, and with this armament list, we're looking for not only how cool something looks, but what was the practical use of this thing? Like, how much mileage could you get out of it?
Yeah, because it's like, we're, hour and a half in this, and we're only through so many of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we're about halfway through the list now, because there's that many of them. So we're kind of... Some of our appreciation for them is how well they were used in the show, and what was even the point of this is what I keep coming back to with this versus the Stegosaurus in Abaranger.
And to be fair, we did know going into this that this was going to be a long one. This was probably going to be like the longest one that...
Yeah. But yeah, I do not like Surfer Maru. Clearance.
The pits of hell with E.
Not the bottom. I still think UFO is worse. But then we have Shurikenjin Paon UFO Surfer. Which apparently happened in the show. I did not watch the episode it occurred in because I couldn't finish Ninninger. The only way I actually saw the final episodes was tuning into RVT to go along with the riffs of Easy Rider and his gang.
And also clearance.
It's like, even combining them, I think combining them makes it worse, not better.
And you should not have that effect with armaments.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's Bison King Drago, because we didn't put in the other 6th Ranger mecha list. It's basically Drago becoming an arm from Bison King, and allowing Bison King to use the sword that is normally reserved for the King Shurikenjin combination.
Okay, if we're trying to be fair to things, or can we put it in uninspired in the sense that it does actually, it's still a sword, you know?
I feel like this is more of what they should have been doing, but they weren't. I feel it's better than Pao and Shurikenjin.
Yeah, better. Definitely better.
Moving on to Zyuohger.
I like the giraffe cannon.
Zyuohger 123 Kirin Bazooka.
It makes me smile. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's just like maybe it's just the way it's positioned. You know what I mean? Like
Zyuohger's mechs, like, there were some fair criticisms, especially towards the DX lines because of the size shrinking for not an appropriate price rescale and them basically being bricks. I get that, but I feel like giving them actual armaments was a different swap around that. So, but it's not... I still feel it's in the acceptable range.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like right here is about appropriate.
Yeah.
Zyuohger 154 Kirin Bazooka. Yes, I had to do it, even though the only difference is the legs.
Same place?
About the same place.
Mm-hmm. The same place as well.
Zyuohger 124 Kirin Bazooka.
I think, like, to help speed things along, we can just, if we place, like, one... If the only difference is the legs, it's not really going to change much.
Yeah, but I still had to count them for consistency. Yep. Zyuohger Octopus.
That becomes a propeller backpack.
That becomes a propeller backpack because none of the Zyuo mecha, otherwise combined Zyuo mecha, I should rephrase, actually had any flight capabilities.
And yet, yes, the majestic flying octopuses.
Yeah, this is still acceptable.
Yeah.
Zyuohger Octopus Kirin Bazooka.
No,
yes, they did that.
I'm willing to put this bottom of hype because of how stupid it is.
It's silly, but you have a mobile cannon. I can't hate that.
Yeah.
Zyuo Wild 623 Mogura Drill.
Yes, Mogura, the less cool Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. Still, drill arm.
Yeah, if we're judging it off of colors scheming, I'm gonna say acceptable.
Yeah.
But
I feel it's above the hammer.
Yeah, above the hammer.
Oh. Zyuohger 654 Mogura Drill.
Same diff.
Yeah.
We do our research here. We are highly educated scientific people here.
No, we're not.
Aw.
Zyuo Wild 654 Mogura Drill and Kuma Axe.
That's an odd combination of weapons.
Yeah. Kuma Axe was the weapon for their Wild Zyuoh King combination. So it only got wielded by anybody else like a couple times, but it's basically just still that same range.
Yeah.
It just adds an axe. Speaking of adding an axe, Zyuoh Wild Special, because its legs are longer, with Panda Axe. And the Panda Axe came from gold plating the Kuma Axe for some reason, but pandas aren't gold, and it's like, this is
uninspired.
This is uninspired. It was basically just to sell another toy. And, well, Tosai Zyuoh with Komori Boomerang.
I like it.
I like the Komori Boomerang, and the crocodile head still being out and snapping really builds up that aesthetic to me.
So, I want to say hype?
Bottom hype, simply because hype is kind of limited versus uninspired. So we kind of have to upgrade it.
In this tier, second tier, if you will,
that's still going to donate.
Yeah, that's still going to donate, but
what in peak actually deserves to be
okay to? I know what listen, I know you're the Gokaiger fan. I'm gonna fight for the Go-Buster combination.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Here's the thing. Look, Go-Busters was flawed as all heck, but the fact that, like, Dekaranger, the fact that we don't have more Sentai mechs writing other Sentai mechs kind of disappoints me, because I feel like that's a whole other category of playability that we're not taking advantage of. And the fact that it's not just, like, Lio is just so cool. It has, like, the laser cannons in the front and stuff. Like, it's powered by Ichiro Mizuki.
Yeah.
You can't can you deny that logic?
I can't deny the logic. We'll leave it at that. Hang on. Actually, one thing. I'm going to move Shinkedo to the top of peak.
Yeah.
Or Shinken Gokaio. It's like that aesthetic with the shoulder pads.
No, yeah, I agree.
Okay, yeah. Now, download image for the second part. And now we are going to have to experience Beige, because there are, again, 42 entries just for Kyuranger, and I have to put them in individually on the list so they actually show up in the proper order in tier lister.
So you're saying that we're in the bottom of the rungs of hell now?
Experience Beige.
I don't want to experience Beige. Beige is like my least favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Although I did like this tier because we had to be, like, some of our usual favorite series didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I gotta reset and re-input the list for this just because... Hang on. Making sure that's saved because I don't want to have to redo this. Okay, armaments mech list saved. Okay. And then refresh and relist everything. This is your time to ask questions, because this is going to take me a little bit to reset.
Bradley Harris, that's how you're walking into deaths.
Yeah.
No, Bradley. Bad Bradley.
No, none of that. Shame on you.
You know what's...
Oh, hey, the little heart object finally got removed on Google's side.
Media Hood, looking forward to the Year of Shadow the Hedgehog?
Oh, yes, I have the game on pre-order.
DJ Toku, so how are things?
Could be better.
Orion Gold, do you plan on watching Kamen Rider Gaff? No.
No, we're skipping that.
Like, we might go back around to Gotchard at some point, because I heard that it actually ended pretty well.
We heard it also was kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, but I'm willing to forgive inconsistent shows that end well. Yeah, like, I feel like it, from everything I've seen, it has heart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But no, Gav does not vibe with me.
It's like the body horror element is just part of where it's just gonna go wrong for me. I'm actually going to see if I can't dump the images we're done with into the subfolders just to get them out of the way.
Yep. Okay.
That might screw up the list side where on that.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Hold that image there while I go through the rest of these. Just to make it easier for me to pull them all up. 4, 5, 6, 7. Helps that I coded these. 8. 9.
HG5, so since all of the Sonic movies have a credit tease, what do you think could be for the third one? Honestly, like, I assume if they actually made a fourth one because the third one becomes successful, actually, let's be real here, it will be successful because everybody...
Shadow the Hedgehog, he's only the second most popular character in the whole canon.
Voiced by Keanu Reeves. I would actually think it would be bold of them if they teased Silver.
Or just all the other major characters they haven't done yet.
Yeah, like, imagine, like, Amy, like, knocking on the door and being like, Sonic! And then Sonic's like, oh. Milton Cobb, what is your, I'll feel this one. What is your opinions on Live Alive, Gridman, Stardust Memory, and Full Metal Panic being added to Robot Wars DD? The other ones are like Super Robot Wars like staples, like that. Those aren't news to me. Live Alive, though, coming to Robot Wars, that was surprising because
I know nothing about Live Alive.
It's basically an RPG where you play as different characters in different points of time. And it's like you're playing several different mini games, if not mini games, but like mini RPGs where these characters have to experience like their own little story. Like maybe you're playing a ninja or a caveman or whatever. And in each of those with each of those characters, they have to fight against some sort of great evil that is currently screwing their life over. You know, like for a caveman, it could be a giant T-Rex, or for the ninja, it could be like the head ninja. Like, but regardless, in one of those scenarios, you play as a mecha pilot, and the fact that this mecha pilot is getting to Robot Wars, it fascinates me because Live Alive is a Square Enix game. So if Square Enix is now on the table, then that could get interesting. You want
if they could actually combine the Xeno series appropriately.
Yeah,
there's a question there.
Yeah, that's the question. I don't mean will it be good or not, I don't know, but I think it could be interesting.
My obsession with the coding is actually helping me a lot with this.
Media Hood reviews. So much Q-Tama. Jonathan Johnson, what is your favorite pairing in Persona 5?
Ren with Mikoto or Futaba.
Futaba deserves head pats. I love her reaction to getting head patted, and she's like, whoa.
Like, before, again, as I brought up in the videos before people complain, Futaba is only a year younger than Ren. That's fine. It's like, if it was an actual adult coming on to Futaba, that's a lot more of an issue, but that's not how Persona handles it.
Also, I just realized Futaba's, like, tiny, so she's probably, like, around Aoyuki's height, if not a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
43 entries for just Kyuranger.
Is that it? Are we out of the woods?
That's hell we're walking into.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. Then there's Lupat. Finally, we're out the dark end.
I thought you said we were out of the dark end.
Error. Trying not to load too many. And there we go. That is everything else. Starting with Q-Reno 13579. Basic Swordfish goes to left arm, Chameleon goes from left arm to right leg, Bison Ushi goes to arm for stabbing, punching. It's like a lot of the problem with the Kyuranger mech is they overlap, and it's like, here's the thing. I like Scramble City. I do. It's just 43 of these damn things.
Media, why? Why would you mention that? Great, I have the Kyutama dancing music stuck in my head.
That...
The ending theme song?
Oh, I have successfully blocked that from my memory.
It's now in my memory.
Like, the fact it got censored because it was inappropriate to begin with, like, that amuses me. That amuses me greatly. Yeah, this is, like... Chameleon, I feel like, is what mixes that, because...
Yeah.
It's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Let's start our descent.
It begins the countdown. You know, if Kyuranger, going around, you know, if Kyuranger just did a rotation system like what Kamara Paradox did, it wouldn't be as big of a headache. The entire issue is just the Scramble City system. I love Scramble City systems, but, like, the way they handled it for the team construction, it didn't quite work well. They needed Lucky to not be an asshole. Okay, Kurino 179, basically just booster legs.
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
Sorry if I seem disinterested. It's just mustering up anything positive to say. Like
Kurino 179. Alternative, because it's Chameleon leg, and Scorpion is in that shop, but it's not actually connected. It's from one of the movies, or one of the specials, and it's like one leg Jim. Uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Kurino 13456.
What are these naming conventions?
It's the numbers. It's like it's the number. They are in order. Kurino 1 is like the Lion Voyager, and then it's in order of.
Well, yeah, I mean, I
what
get
their
that.
coding is.
It's just like it's just numbers. You were like. Oh.
Well, would you rather it be Kurino Lion Balance Ox Wolf Snake?
I would just rather not deal with Kyuranger, period.
I like the snake arm,
Yeah.
the snake hand, but balance drags it down. Balance is arguably the worst of the Kyuranger designs.
Unfortunately.
Of the limb mecha, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I forgot about the big and little bear. That one also didn't work. But it's like, it's symbols, not even working. This, I feel, works better. We're just racing along these.
Yeah, we're not even really discussing it. Let's just go.
No, 1, 3, 5, 8, 9.
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
We're trying to dig out of hell. Okay.
No, wait, 1, 3, 6, 7, 9. Because it's like the same ones, but in alternate combinations. Bottom, because like the snake and balance's snake and balance's legs neither really work well. Like they have a humanoid form, they have a object form, and they have a foot form, and none of them really work. Kurino 1, 3, 5, 8, 9. I like the wings kind of being used as like a bow aesthetically. I think it's one of the better rando combinations. Kurino 1, 4, 6, 8, 9.
Poor Washi.
Lesser because it's the balanced snake legs. Kurino 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. This is part of the problem. We are going to mess these up because we're gonna have trouble keeping the numbers straight. Yeah. Simpler way would have been to talk about each of the mechs as individually as an arm and a leg. Yes, but then the general aesthetic of the others together is what required me do all 43 of the damn things.
You were possessed by the devil when you did this.
It literally took me 3 hours. Scorpion is a terrible arm.
Yeah.
A chameleon can function as a leg. Scorpion cannot. Okay, in this shot, a bit better. This is an alternate configuration of them. It works better. Scorpion is still a terrible arm. Kurino 1, 3, 4, 7, 9. The issue is balance. It doesn't have any. It's not as bad, it's still bad.
Yeah.
Kurino 1, 2, 4, 6, 7. Balance and snake is the legs.
When are we gonna get to 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9?
Kurino 1, 1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
It's alright.
It's alright. Alright. No, wait, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. Oh
my god, these Kyuranger!
Alright, here we are. Kurino 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. Better, but
yeah.
Scorpion looks better as a leg.
It does.
It does.
God, this thing is gonna be seared in my brain.
Kurino 1, 2, 3, 5, 11. This is the first one with the bear pair.
Clearance.
And yeah, the only way
I can just tell by looking at it that it looks bad.
It's the base arms that form Ryuteo. Kurino 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. Snake as a left leg on this one. And Snake as a leg does not look that good. This is basically just the Kyuranger list now. Kurino 1, 4, 6, 7, 9. Yeah, again, balance and snake legs are not good. Kurino 1, 3, 7, 8, 9.
You always like being in the center of attention, don't you, Lucky?
I mean, he does. Alright, Kurino 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I like this one. I think this is a peak one, simply because Washi as a backpack. By the way, this is what boosts the Kyuranger stuff to being Over 10,000 combinations. The fact that Washi can actually function as a backpack for any other combination of the 5. That does not include just the Washi Voyager. It's like, I really like that wing aesthetic. It's not as big on the toy, it's not as big in the mini-plot, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been used more often. It was used once because it was just CGI, and they didn't plan it originally. The toy designers did, the suit designers did not.
Which freaking rip, because a literal wing backpack, like that would have slapped, but
nope. The show did not. It just no.
The Kyurangers, nope.
Yeah. Okay, Kyurano 135. It fought as it was combining. We can't. Here's the problem with this. That's going to put this in clearance. We can't really see it this time.
Yeah. We know it happened, but.
And it's like, we're not watching the show again for this. Kyurano 1239, mid-combination.
Clearance.
Yeah.
I never even survived the first episode. Like, I saw, I saw 2 episodes and dipped.
Kyurano 12457, still only CGI, just this shot. Or this quick sequence. With Chameleon as the right arm, and I don't even know what the numbers associate with at this point.
It's like, basically, here's Kyurano with this thing, and then this thing, and then there's so many orbs. Do you see the orbs?
I wish I didn't. Kyurano 127911. Basically, the bears as a left arm, Chameleon as a leg, and Scorpion as a leg.
Davis Hayden, did it really happen? Did the whole show even really happen?
I think it's the funny thing is, like, the people who liked it don't really talk about it. The people who hated it like to forget it even happened. So everyone is just kind of treating it as a fever dream at this point.
Persona non grata?
Persona non grata. Like Takahiro Sakurai is at the moment. Kyurano 13377. They cloned them. There is a Kyutama that clones them. This is why the mecha count is so huge for Kyuranger. Yes. And it's 2 of the more uninteresting ones at that.
You clone the dumb ones too.
Like, why even do this outside of, hey, can you buy more of these so you can do these combos? Because the show didn't sell well. It made slightly more than Zyuohger, but the thing is, we've talked about this in previous lists. Kyuranger sold more than 500 individual items. Even the largest merchandise lines of Super Sentai didn't really break 200. So for it to just barely sell better than the previous series with that amount of merch, it means, like, if you divide the total they had by the total they earned by the total they put out for sale, that's not high numbers in comparison to basically any other series. Yeah, it's like
Media Hood. Why?
Like, I got duplicate of the mini-plot for the sole purpose of I wanted to see how their engineering works, so as part of my Gaoranger animal project. And even then, I got them all on stupidly cheap clearance, so it's not even like I spent a lot on them.
Even that was probably too much.
Kyurano 12589.
Scorpion Lens leg still sucks.
Scorpion Invisible's leg isn't that great. Even the niceness of Washi as an attempted bow isn't saving it. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish they could just fold it up and, like, use it as, like, an axe or saw vibration blade or something other than... Because it works better as a backpack than as an arm. Yeah,
it does. So the fact that it's not a backpack is weird.
Kyurano 12579. This one doesn't aesthetically work.
Yeah, honestly, imagine showing somebody, like, all these orbs and thinking that and tell them what's the difference between them.
Kyurano 1279. Missing an arm. It's the one-armed man.
What one-armed man? The one-armed man, he killed my wife. My wife.
I showed them The Fugitive recently. Kirano 167911. No. You know what's funny? It's like most of these combinations use the yellow and green rangers, but the frustrating thing about Kyuranger is the Green Ranger for that team barely did anything. They got a solo episode, and then they ruined Space Squad with her plot in that being she somehow turned evil, and then Yellow had a thing with Pink, which wasn't interesting because Red ruined it, and it's like on and on and on. It's the core of so many combinations, and because Lucky overtook the show so much, you made everything attached to them uninteresting. Okay, Kirano. Hang on. Oh yeah, this one. Hang on. Yeah, Kirano 4679. Why is the thing auto-playing? Okay, we should be good. Kirano 46791177. Why 77? Because the core orb in Kirano and the Lion Voyager is the one that goes to the Little Lion Voyager. So even this is counted as a separate armament form. Because the pilot's chair is different.
Clearance.
My
brain is mush.
Kirano 14579. I think they were frozen for some reason. That's why the image quality is so poor on this one.
By the way, Blue Sharky's asking, how did you know it didn't sell well? Like, where did you get your toy sale information?
We have records of... The Sentai Wiki lists everything that was sold as part of the merchandise line, and we have final sales numbers. I believe Zyuohger was 8 billion versus Kyuranger having 9.1. It's only $1 billion difference, but Zyuohger barely sold... Not Zyuohger. Zyuohger barely put out anything for sale. They had a very small merchandise line versus Kyuranger's gigantic merchandise line. That's why we can tell just from those metrics that it didn't sell well. The more things you put out for sale, the more you're supposed to earn from doing that. If you put out a lot of things for sale, but then you earn less than putting out a small amount for sale, then it doesn't seem like you did as well.
Clearance, whatever it is. I don't...
Yeah.
It has jello legs now.
Almost done. Kirano 12456. Yeah.
That's it.
Like it's the 3 limbs that don't work in those configurations plus Ox, so
Davis Hayden, I remember he cloned himself in the show once, referring to Lucky. Media Hut then responds, I reiterate with the Lucky cloning thing.
Kirano, I've lost count of what the numbers are. I think this is 12679. It's Return of the Snake Arm. I like the Snake Arm.
Yeah. The numbers, they bleed together.
Oh, finally. Ryuteo 7910.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's just the base Kirano arms there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's better. It's something different. It's better than its Ryuteo's normal arms.
According to your notes, there are approximately 7,920 combinations for Ryuteo.
Yeah. Yeah, I put that note in there just to torture us. Because, like,
why would you do that to me?
10,000... Close to 20,000 combinations between these two mecha.
Vin Tran Kwong. Finally, no more balls. Wait, there's more?
Yes. Ryuteo 4610. Balance sucks.
The balance is not restored.
Ryuteo 3410. Balance sucks.
Fuck the balance.
Ryuteo 3, 7, 10?
Sure.
Yeah. Ryuteo 6, 10, 11. Again, I like that snake hand. I don't like the bears.
Nobody likes the Bears. The Bears will never win Chicago.
The bears.
The Bears.
And the bulls.
And the Bulls.
Ryuteo 3, 5, 10. So that's wolf and bull. It's acceptable.
Oh, God.
Ryuteo...
I actually like that.
Yeah, this is 8, 9, 10. Yeah, again, these two work together.
I'm so sorry I'm not, like, being excited about all this chat. It's just... It's just balls. There's balls for days.
Ryuteo 3, 6, 10? Again, acceptable.
Kill the Gaoranger just with a nightmare scenario.
God, I can't imagine if they went full Gaoranger and made orbs for all 88 constellations. They did make orbs for all 88 constellations. Again, there was a reason why the merchandise line was so huge. Or did they miss some of them? I don't remember. I don't care to remember.
I don't want to remember. I want to...
Again, over 500 unique items for that merchandise line. When most other Sentai series don't even surpass 200. I don't think Kyoryuger, which is the highest earning Sentai series ever, broke 200. I don't think Gokaiger had to break 200, but that's just because of the Ranger keys. No? None of that. Shame on you.
No. Leave that. Leave that in. Everybody else must suffer.
I want to remove it so
No.
badly.
Leave it. If we're suffering, the chat must suffer as well.
Okay, Ryuteo 3, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. This is why the count gets so huge. Because Ho-Oh Voyager's rockets count as limbs for both Ryuteo and Kyureno to increase the count even higher. Because each of the Kyutama have a special ability. When they're used as cockpits, even like this, they give the mechs special abilities, special dockings, and special ranger combinations. Because they did this once, this is the only time they do it, it counts for all those combinations.
Experience...
Internal screaming! Even though, like, the rocket arms are, like, the worst.
Why must you do this?
You agreed to help with this.
I know. What was I thinking?
Ryuteo 3, 8, 10. It's acceptable.
It's acceptable.
That's it. We're done. We're done with Kyuranger. And as you can tell by the split of mainly acceptable and uninspired, there's a point where too much was there.
Yeah, it's...
Kyuranger should not have been a 12-member fucking Sentai team, especially with how poorly they utilized more than half the cast.
Like... Media Hood. How do you screw up rocket arms?
Yeah.
Okay, but, like, look. Kyoryuger had 10 members in its roster, but... Was it 10?
10?
Yeah.
Plus, Death Ryuger as a rare 11th, and we've only just gotten, King Kyoryuger to technically make the count 12.
But they at least understood they were still the core 5 team. There was your extra rangers who were clearly extra rangers who came in as or they're basically glorified side characters.
Mentors, basically. They took the mentor role.
And Yaoi, who is awesome. But they at least understood that you can't have everybody on screen at once, otherwise everybody's vying for attention, you know?
And you have a tier system of importance. Like, the 6 core members are the 6 core members. They're who the show is mostly about. Daigo is the main character. He is on the king's journey for their tale, but he only factors in any major way during his story arc. During the series' story arc episodes. The series has story arc episodes and standalone episodes. The rest of the cast dominates the standalone episodes, unless it's the introductory episodes for a member of the main team where they take time away in the main story arc stuff pairing with Daigo. There was a proper splitting of the cast roles in that, so while Daigo still was focused on more, he could leave the spotlight for everybody else. This did not happen with Kyuranger. 12 members, all fighting for attention, and yet it's just the Red Ranger that still dominates everything. That don't work. So while we can complain about why Cyan and Gray didn't get the attention, we can critique how Violet was pushed into the back because Yoyoi's actress was still finishing school and there were limits on how much they could have her, which are a completely logical, valid reason.
Right.
But it's like, there's still that tier of main characters, extra rangers. They were still a team. They were the people who weren't there regularly were still off doing other relevant things.
Yeah.
Kyuranger didn't have this, and so much of it didn't work, and it wasn't helping that the main character was following from the previous couple characters of being a complete jackass. So it's like there's no angle where it works, and the overloading of the mecha combinations like this did not help it. I love Scramble City stuff. I love that they were utilizing Scramble City stuff appropriately. It still didn't help it because a bunch of these this should have been slimmed down. Mm-hmm. At least a couple. They shouldn't have gone past 10. Moving on. Lupin. Kaiser Cyclone.
Uninspired.
Like, just because of how Cyclone unfolds like that.
Yeah, it's just because of how Cyclone unfolds like that.
Like, if it was a single rotator blade that folded forward, that'd be fine, but the two blades, rotator blades folding out like that, it's too awkward. Lumpfadoodle, I believe Kyuranger had a rotation system where the characters who went out were random. Was lucky in just every episode. All but one. One was not about him.
But Lucky always had to be the center of attention. He always had to show up. And he always had to say, Yosha Lucky!
Even when it was supposed to be about other Sentai members, members of the Sentai team, he would somehow find a way to shove himself into the foreground.
He's that guy that when you're pouring your heart and soul out to him, he would somehow make the conversation all about him.
Yeah. Or him saying how the others should handle their personal problems, even though he didn't actually listen to how they should be handled. And somehow, some way, it always involving do it my way or kill yourself was what it broke down to. Anyways, on to what we're actually supposed to be talking about. Lupin Kaiser Knight.
I like it. I really like it. I think
we are missing peak entries in there. I'm putting it up in peak.
It has to be
Knight had to be the best one they did.
It really did.
Yeah. Lupin Kaiser Hammer Knight, because for some reason the scissor blade got turned into a hammer because Lupin collection nonsense. It was to sell a DX toy.
But it's still cool.
Still cool. Not as cool as just the base Knight combo.
Mm-hmm.
Lupin Kaiser Cyclone Knight.
No, it still doesn't work.
Yeah, it's still uninspired. The stealth bomber shield is not saving it.
Even though that is a great idea.
Lupin Kaiser trains.
Oh, with the X Kaiser trains.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice one.
Yeah, it is.
Lupin Kaiser Magic. Because they had the dirigible that had magic powers for some reason. Alexis?
Oh, I'm sorry, my boss texted me. That's
okay. We'll give her a moment. HA5s, wow, that pic looked like when a white toy super yellows. I think it's the lighting of when the person clipped it from, but yeah, that white is certainly going to yellow for the DX toy.
Anyways.
Yeah, Boukenger magic.
I like it.
Yeah. It's acceptable.
It's acceptable, yes.
Lupin splash magic.
I don't like it.
You know, it's the entire the canister being placed in like that. No, that's the uninspired one. Pat Kaiser Biker. As a reminder, since I said it before, but some people have come in, we're counting Siren Kaiser and Victory Kaiser as the Lupat mecha super forms because it changes the naming scheme and the just general aesthetic of the mecha. And obviously, Good Feeling Kaiser VSX will be the final form, even though it's out of the proper debut order, just because of it bringing all the series, all of them together. But yeah, Pat Kaiser Biker.
Okay, so I like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, it's acceptable. Gongar, almost forgot this. Do you know where a good site to get Motorite kits? They announced they announced a mech that I really excited for last night, and I don't want to spend 100 buying directly from Good Smile Company. Hobby Link Japan, New Type, and USA Gundam Store are my go-tos just generally for that. The problem with all of them is they're actually about equal in pricing with just buying directly from Good Smile Company. So it's like, if you buy from Hobby Link Japan, it seems like it's cheaper, but then you have to deal with Hobby Link Japan's shipping costs, which are higher than all the others. So your best bet might be to wait for New Type to have it in stock because they don't do pre-orders, or to pre-order from USA Gundam Store when they list it, but wait until they have a pre-order discount week. Oh, with also the caveat that USA Gundam Store takes the longest to get stuff in, so you will be waiting until well after it releases from any of the others if you order that way. So yeah, I placed Biker on the list.
Yeah, you did.
Pat Kaiser Strong. Drill Shiv? That's the part of this that doesn't really work.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It could actually be placed on the end of the crane, but it's definitely one of the weaker crane trucks. Part of the problem with just this era of Super Sentai and not handling its combination mecha well.
Yeah, it's sort of like we kind of reversed back into Dumbville.
Whereas, you know, the engineering was there for Boukenger's version of a crane truck. So yeah, this is the uninspired side again. Hensoku, aka Irregular Pat Kaiser, aka Lupin Kaiser Nisango.
I think the aesthetic works.
Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna bust you up.
Yeah, we're the dirty cops who don't, like, follow the rules.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a regular cop, though?
Kinda. Pat Kaiser Strong Biker.
The strong arm just still doesn't do it for me.
It's still uninspired. Pat Kaiser Trains.
I like it.
Yeah,
if we gave a pass to Lupin Kaiser trains, we should do the same for this.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
like it's about the same aesthetic. Okay, so we're now on to Ryusoulger.
Tiger Lance. I love it.
Hype.
Mill Needle.
Kyoryuger, Mill Needle, not as good. It's acceptable. Kyoryuger, Triken. Yes, they actually allowed the two that are part of the Three Knights combo to have their own specialized ones. And it's like, I don't see why people say Ryusoulger might have not been able to do every random combination the Lego port system makes allowed. But they did a lot of them. They advertised how easily you could mix things up and left it to people to just do their own custom forms. Yeah. This one is hype because it's definitely more of a fencer. Kyoryuger and Kuros. I wish this one got more of a workout because, 1, tail hammer, 2, actual hammer. I kind of wish they'd use the drill connectors for the hammer, or at least on one side, but I can't hate using the guns for a large solid base. So that's actually peak for me.
Mm-hmm.
Kishirio Dime Volcano, yeah.
You didn't have to finish it, I just knew it was peak.
Yeah, it's like the shoulder cannons. I wish they'd done more specifically with Dime Volcano for interim combinations besides just this and Gigant. I kind of also see why they didn't, just because those cannons I think would have been a bit harder to work around. Kishirio,
Haku,
hang on. Did I not put it in? I thought I had it in here. Oh, I wrote it in, but I must have forgotten to grab the image. Hang on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Yeah, Cosmoraptor. I missed Cosmoraptor.
You missed Cosmoraptor?
This is why I said I was checking the lists to make sure I got everything. I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it. One moment. Zero 43-055. Okay, let's see if this will actually update. Show that. Hang on. Properties. Again, I don't know how I missed it, but I did miss it. At least I had my notes correct this time, so I can notice when I immediately did.
Mm-hmm. The curate okay.
Bad slideshow. Yeah. Let's have to go the long way around because there's a bunch of stuff we haven't gotten to yet, and I don't want to bring them up for discussion before we get to it. There we go. Kishirio Cosmoraptor.
Peak.
Yep, absolutely. I need to add it into the tier lister too. It's like darkness and light as one. Can't hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Now this list is so big, I need to just move it up, and it's the peakest of this set so far. We're gonna have other peak stuff, but it's the peakest tier. Okay. Kishirio Pachiguru.
I love Pachiguru.
Yes.
It's definitely hype. It's not peak, but I love the little guy.
Honestly, I put it bottom of peak, just because, you know...
that's fair. That's fair.
There's not a lot of mecha that get boxing gloves.
Distinctly boxing gloves.
Distinct boxing gloves. Kishirio Five Knights Blue. Alternate combinations for Five Knights. Yeah, that's always a plus for me.
Yeah, so, yeah, peak. Like, again, Ryusoulger wasn't the best show in the world, but this system it had going for it was really good.
It's like, when we were watching it, there wasn't a lot of times where we say, I hate this. It's like,
exactly.
It's not the most engaging. This story isn't really vibing with me, but it's not doing things structurally wrong for a lot of it. Kishirio Five Knights Black.
Hype.
Yeah.
It's not doing. It's not.
It's mixing more mill needle focus with the other knights, so it's something more, but it's not enough. Kishiuryu Neptune Shadow Raptor.
I mean, peak, but you know.
Yeah. Like, the fact that Neptune could also do this was also very nice. And Kishiuryu Neptune, Cosmoraptor. I swear it right, these two are exchangeable.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. The image isn't even showing everything at once. Okay, this is Kishiuryu Neptune Cosmoraptor Dime Volcano. Basically, this was near the final battle mech where Neptune got some of Dime Volcano's parts, but basically just used the sword.
In that case, if it's just the sword, then it's acceptable.
And then
oh yeah, from the final battle and
from
stuff.
the absolute final battle, Yokuriro Tiger Lance Mill Needle, where it just basically got some weapons and no add-on parts, which, if you're critical for Ryusoulger not doing this with Yokuriro due to how late it came in and then them just defaulting to King Kishiuryu for a lot of that, I can't fault you for that. Because, like, they definitely didn't use Yokuryu enough, even though it had all these connection ports. Even giving it, like, Pachikuru's punching gloves for that, since they were introduced around the same time, would have been nice. It's bottom acceptable. And that should do it for Ryusoulger. Kirameiger. We're almost done.
We're almost done it. We're almost out of the forest. I like it.
Kirameiger Carry, which forms the shield, and it's a sword and shield combo. It's hard to hate on that.
It's sword and shield. You know, you swap your attack and defense points. Like, it's fun.
Kirameiger Roll On, sword and hammer.
I like it.
Acceptable again.
Acceptable again.
Kirameiger Lift On. Lift On. Fork. They tried to kill him with a forklift. It turned into an actual fork instead of a spear, just due to the design.
Yeah.
I think that's bottom of acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, the trident just aesthetic really didn't work. I think it would have worked better had they given it to King Express Zabune. Kirameiger Lift On and Roll On.
Same thing.
Yeah. Let me find it on the list. The list got a bit confused. Another acceptable one. Kirameiger Express. They did this once.
It's
That's an uninspired one.
Yeah.
They're just riding on the King Express somehow. Kirameiger Dust On.
Clearance.
Yeah.
I always hated that one.
Yeah. That one basically had no point. Kirameiger Magellan. It is a gun. It is a cement gun.
It is also uninspired.
Yeah. I don't think I can rate.
Yeah.
I don't think I can rate it lower than just riding King Express. Kirameiger Zabune Magnum.
Now that slaps.
Yeah. That's going up to peak. Because cannons. Land Mage Zabune Magnum. Using Zabune as a spear.
That also works.
Yeah. I don't like Land Mage's aesthetic as much, so it's gonna go to bottom hype. Gigant Driller Gigamori Special.
What do you think? What say you?
I mean, short of Chevello, this is how I have Gigant Driller's Minipla displayed. So it definitely left something on me. But like, Gigant Driller is just strong enough on its own.
Yeah, and the vacuum cleaner is just a vacuum cleaner. It's not even like it doesn't even turn into anything. It's just a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I think that's just the unless you want to like play act Spaceballs with other mecha, I think that's just the one of that entire line where it doesn't work. Yeah, so, but altogether, I think this is just acceptable. And that should be it for Kirameiger. Nothing for Zenkaiger, thank God. They have super final mechs and alternate base combos. I don't count 2Kyo stuff, and we counted all of those just together on the 6th Ranger mecha list already, so they're not here. We also counted all the alternate combinations bar super forms for the core Zenkaiger mech, so they are also not here. There's nothing for Dawn Brothers because the Gold Pheasant is counted as a super form for its armament, so they are not here. Meaning, Dawn the King-Ohger for the alternate head.
Clearance.
It's
just a nit.
Like, it throws off the entire mecha aesthetic. I know this is how it actually debuted for its early bird cameo in Dawn Brothers, and you can actually do that with the mini blow, by the way. They have the same head connection joint, so you don't need to actually, like, get a reproduction head of that for those who didn't want the DX toy, but there's no point. There's generally no point. And now we have the King-Ohger mecha that were only used once each in their actual armament forms.
You came in like a wrecking ball.
Like, the way they used this with it, Guardian rolling, catching the electricity of Nkospa.
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce that word. That was actually a really cool way to debut this in their episode.
It's some way to put it up in hype because of how it was used was different, you know?
Yeah. Actually need to make sure I'm finding it on the list, because they got missorted. So, yeah, hype. HFIs, the DX released a helmet. Yes, I said that. Snail King-Ohger.
I love the Himeno's debut of it where she just picked it up and the snail's like, what? And then she just like goes on a shooting.
Yeah, and just the ladybug dropping off and attaching to the sword in the back. That's actually what happens. Got Tento, the Guardian Tentos. Yeah, and I wish they'd used specifically this one more, but I guess they're not in every country, but they still get called. So this is another one that goes into hype. Where'd I put rolling?
You put it rolling in hype.
Yeah, there's rolling, and it still just goes above because it's a Gatling gun arm. Kabuto King-Ohger. The fact they sold this as a set. No, this is a peak. That arm cannon Kabuto.
Like, that is a hand cannon.
Yeah.
That is a hand cannon that they had to brace themselves for because of how powerful.
Using their sword.
Using their sword because of how powerful it was. That's how you know you're dealing with something, you know?
Yeah. Scorpion King-Ohger.
The burning finger?
Yeah, the poison finger.
The poison finger for Bugnaroks.
Yes.
Bugnaroks poison.
Yes. Honestly, I feel like this on its own is the weakest, just because it's a claw hand.
The claw.
But it's like, all the King-Ohger mecha are generally hype. I just want to put this at bottom hype to be fair. Hopper King-Ohger.
It gives it a breast fire, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's like, I like the improved aesthetic on just the normal stuff, and then you can still, like, punch stuff even like this, or use the sword.
And doesn't Hopper also give him kicking legs?
Yeah, stronger legs for kicking power. Yeah. So it's like, it's a full body improvement.
Yeah, so for that reason, peak.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't do the same as Kabuto does.
It doesn't do the same, but, like, not many... Actually, I think that's the only mech in Super Sentai that directly homages breast fire, you know?
Yeah. Gigantic Kyoryuger.
Okay.
And I think something else does this well. I'm just forgetting what. But it came out more like a fireball. No, that wasn't it. I am thinking of Gridman with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was King Gridman. I don't remember another Sentai mecha that did that. Tarantula Knight Pede.
Chainsaw's millip centipede thing.
Bottom of peak, because even better is Tarantula Knight, Pete, Cicada.
Yeah. And we're using the mini plan images because it's just easier.
No, this is the CGI.
Oh,
This
the
is
CGI?
model.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, Tarantula Knight was solely CGI. And the Mole Rat will be CGI. I don't think it's actually as good as Lupin Knight, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Okay. King-Ohger Kawagata Zero Core. Basically when Kawagata Zero stubbed in for God Kawagata.
Acceptable.
Yeah. It throws off the aesthetic
Just
like
enough.
this, just because, yeah, King-Ohger Zero works when it's all in the proper color aesthetic. Same thing with King-Ohger Kawagata Zero Kabuto. I know that is I know that is a mouthful, but I say it like that because this is not technically King-Ohger Zero. But yeah, that's another acceptable. And then King-Ohger Zero Core. Basically, King-Ohger Zero, but without any of the Guardian sub-shoe gods that form the standard core combination. So basically, this is just the 10 Zero type main shoe god. Or, this is the core 5 shoe gods in their Zero color scheme.
Right?
Now, because it still looks good, and it only was used once in the Rackley's secret specials when he detached all of the sub-shoe gods so they could attack independently.
Oh, that's right, because it can do that.
Yeah.
And
okay.
with that...
So, with this, we are nearly done. We just need to judge what is the GOAT for this set.
And that's a harder question than I...
Yeah, because again, for the reminder, anything clearance could get dropped to donate. Anything it could be moved to GOAT. Now, we are generally still biased towards King-Ohger, so I don't think it should be Kabuto or Hopper among those. I kind of want to give it to Cosmoraptor.
Yeah, definitely. I'll agree to that.
Because just Kishirio in and of itself is just such a good mech.
Yeah, and it's also... The Cosmoraptor combination is so good, you would think it's the super form, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. As for who we should move to donate here, it's overwhelmingly biased on Kyuranger stuff, so I don't think we give it to that. Just swapping the head for Don King-Ohger, I feel like is inappropriate. We only actually put Dust on that list.
And donate Dust on.
Yeah, donate Dust
because, okay, we will give Kyuranger all the in the world as it rightfully deserves, but it's a fucking vacuum cleaner.
There's no other way of putting it.
Yeah, it's just a goddamn vacuum cleaner. That it's not even a magical transforming vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, and it's like, since Plumfadoodle asked in the chat, what do you think of the Boukenger armaments that I have right here? And it's like, each of the Boon cars does something different and appropriate to their theme, so even if they're not being used as a head part, you can still see them being used for something else in there. Like, Knight, when used, the Knight shoulder, when used as a arm thing, could be like a claw or fencing thing. When the shovel parts aren't used as a head part, they could feasibly be used as a shovel function, or don't they use this as one of the anchors when they're doing the Boon formation?
Yeah.
Yeah, the police car, when it's not being a head, could be just something you stab or clamp with, and claw and even the first sword with the blue car could still be used for punching. Like, there's a fair bit of multifunction with this that doesn't make any of them bad. And it's like, I feel like this is why the Boon cars, even though they don't do a lot, they do enough. Whereas that contrasts against Dust On in, like, they had a theme, and I don't think that turning one into a vacuum cleaner in any way worked or fit with anything else they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the one stumbling one for Kirameiger's mecha stuff, which I otherwise did like.
Yeah, so like in a list where we were predominantly antagonistic towards Kyuranger.
So it's like, that's just a bit of exhaustion with that.
Yeah. But no, it was actually Kirameiger that took the L here.
Mm-hmm. Is Bundy's mini still on sale because I kind of want him? Check ToQlectables. If not, check Hobby Link Japan, because they do sell the base mini plus sets. After that, I would check either eBay or Mandarake and judge which way around to buy, because that's both secondhand, and that will probably depend by what the exchange rates are right now. Like, there's a bunch of sites that do sell mini-pla, but I'm not aware of all of them, because I have my selections while other people's have theirs. Okay, so yeah, save this. I still can't believe I forgot Cosmoraptor. That is like one where I did write it in, so I knew I was grabbing it. It's probably where I blipped on actually saving it because something interrupted me, just due to when I was actually doing all of them. Because I had to stop right as I was starting on Kyuranger when I was doing it 2 days ago, simply because I was just so exhausted grabbing everything else, and I saw that Kyuranger was going to be 43 images, and I just needed to stop and say, I'm done for the night, and then come back to it later, and then probably I was so exhausted from doing Kyuranger that my mind started to blank again. But yeah, that is 3 sets of these. I will be posting them on Twitter. What is ToQlectables shipping cost? 0 in North America. If you live outside of North America, there is a shipping fee, but they do ship internationally. Yeah. And plus, ToQlector is a official retailer, so it represents interest for people to buy them. Alternatively, no, wait, they're doing clear ones again, so I can't recommend those. Oh, Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store is another option. They do $4 flat rate shipping. Yeah. HJ Fives. I can't help but find it funny. Beauty's actor is currently very prominent in both Boukenger and Go Rush right now. Beauty's Oh, Bundy. Yeah, not Bundy. Anyways, yeah. That's it for this one. We're gonna give it another month until we come back. When we do, it's going to be the Superform list. That will be large, but it won't be as large as this.
And it'll be fun, too.
And it'll be fun because we get to gush about how all those higher tier combinations go, because we start back all the way at Live Man again.
And Alexis won't progressively lose her mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you.